Chapter 2189. The officer was sent to the hospital. He had a gunshot wound that needed treatment. The base was in chaos for a while because of this incident. The two headless zombies were caught and cremated together with Ping and Shun and Hu Jingxing's bodies. Especially when so many people saw Ping and Shun suddenly release the zombies, they were all scared. The leader of the base generously released Ping and Shun because Ping and Shun's body had been dissected and there was nothing special in his body. Because of the severe blood loss, his bones and blood cells could no longer produce blood. Therefore, Ping and Shun had no value since he couldn't produce blood. The serum in the leader's hands was extremely precious and became a limited edition. By doing so, they would be able to quell the rumors that had been spreading in the base during this period of time, saying that Ping and Shun was sent to the research institute because the serum in his body could resist the zombie virus. Now that Ping and Shun released the zombies in front of everyone, it meant that the base locked him up because they could release zombies anytime and anywhere. It was so dangerous that they placed him in the research institute. There was no such thing as a serum. Ning Shu could only say that people who sat high up were all black scientists. Ning Shu returned to the research institute and rested for a while before starting to process the blood left by Ping and Shun. This might be the last batch. It almost drained all the blood in Ping and Shun's body. The people in the research institute gathered together and discussed that each person should keep half a bottle for self-defense. Even the person in charge of the research institute acquiesced in this matter. The serum that was produced before was handed in. Ning Shu followed the advice and took half a bottle. The bottle was very small, only the size of a penicillin bottle. One bottle could only inject one dose. Half a bottle was not much. Then everyone looked at each other and laughed. That way, everyone would have a share and no one would have to be afraid of betrayal. Although there was the serum, it still couldn't stop humans from quickly turning into zombies. Since the outbreak of the apocalypse, the human population had sharply decreased. Without the birth of new babies, there would only be fewer and fewer humans. Perhaps not long after, this plane would become an empty plane. Everything would be covered up and reborn, returning to its original state. There were gigantic dinosaurs, as well as creatures so large that it made people shudder in fear. There were humans wearing animal skins and holding sharp sticks in their hands chasing prey. Starting over, everything would be new. But the premise was that this plane had to be able to purify itself, complete a great cleansing, and get through this hurdle. It was like a sick person, there was nothing they could do even if they couldn't. Quest complete. Do you wish to leave the quest world? 2333 asked. Leave, Ning Shu said. Ning Shu didn't have any expectations for this task. She hadn't found a way to deal with zombies. The only thing he could look forward to was the soul energy and soul origin purified by her soul stone. Quests and whatnot could not be expected at all. Ning Shu had just laid down on the sofa when 2333 gave him a piece of explosive news. I have a piece of bad news. Do you want to hear it? Ning Shu really wanted to smash 2333's face with a brick. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, the organization killed a bunch of mission enforcers again, 2333 said. Why? Ning Shu was really shocked. They must have done something wrong. In the past, it didn't matter if they killed them or not. Maybe the organization was afraid of chaos, so they just killed some of them to intimidate them. They can even restrain their soul energy. How much soul energy is that? And it's the soul energy of a mission enforcer. 2333's tone was filled with envy. Ning Shu's heart was digging and digging. It was cut off again. It was a little scary. Ning Shu asked, what kind of people were killed? There are low-level, mid-level, high-level, and super-level ones. All of them are considered eliminated. One of the law incarnations was killed as a warning, 2333 said. We'd better tuck our tails between our legs during this period of time. You know how to be afraid? Ning Shu asked in surprise. Why wouldn't I be afraid? Even if I've lived for a long time, I still have 7 emotions and 6 desires. I'm fucking afraid. Didn't they just force you to donate? The donation was a one-time exemption. Why would a law incarnation be killed? Ning Shu suddenly felt his butt tighten. They took the money and went back on their word? I don't know the details, but he must have done something that made the organization want to kill him. The law imprint was taken away. After all, law incarnations are very rare. Go and ask the other law incarnations. I only have a list of names to kill, 2333 said. That's a little scary. What are you afraid of? Did you do something out of line? Ning Shu rolled his eyes. 2333 was silent. Ning Shu was shocked. You didn't really do something, did you? If I really did it, the two of us would be annihilated. Why don't you believe me? 2333's tone was filled with resentment. Then why are you silent? Ning Shu patted his chest and breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, I didn't get killed. It was not the right time to do missions. The items were expensive and 10% of the soul power would be taken away. Moreover, the more mistakes one made, the more careless one would be killed. Scary. Fortunately, I escaped. This feeling was like going through a tribulation. If one was not careful, lightning would strike down on one's head. Didn't I tell you there was bad news? You're relieved so early. 2333 said faintly. Ning Shu, I'm going to be killed too. No, because the mission enforcers killed a little too many, the other mission enforcers have to complete a certain number of missions within a certain time limit. 2333 said. Ning Shu almost knelt down in front of the crazy organization. Since they're short of manpower, why kill them at this time? Perhaps the organization is more lacking in soul power, so they just killed them. Moreover, the missions are completed better by the experienced mission enforcers. Those who broke the rules, did not perform well, or were reckless and went beyond the limit, so they just killed them. 2333 said. Ning Shu's legs trembled. This was a crazy organization. What the hell happened? 2333, I'm so scared. Maybe something happened. I've been locked up all this time. How would I know what's going on outside? Even a pig would know what's going on in this situation. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. She did not want to do missions anymore. She wanted to take a break and go get soul stones. She would not make any mistakes. Life was great. However, the organization had killed so many mission enforcers. She had to do missions. Moreover, it was mandatory. Can I not do missions? Ning Shu wanted to go to the second level of 9 Palace Mountain to find soul stones. Soul stones were Ning Shu's favorite. Sure, but you have to hand in enough missions. 2333 said. I still have to do missions. Ning Shu felt that there was a problem with her communication with 2333, so she did not answer his question. Chapter 2190. 2333 meant that if you don't want to do the mission, then don't do it first. Then, when you want to do it, you can do it until you bleed. That way, you can ensure that the number of missions is met. Ning Shu didn't know what to say about 2333. He understood what she meant when she said that she didn't want to do the mission. She meant to avoid the chaos during this period of time and focus on finding soul stones. When the price of goods went down and the organization stabilized, people wouldn't be so anxious anymore. That way, she could do the mission peacefully. If something really happened to the organization, it was fine to tell them. It wasn't good to let everyone guess. If Ning Shu was only a beginner, he wouldn't care so much and do what he should do. But now, Ning Shu had too many things to consider. Ning Shu sighed and lay on the sofa. He picked up a withered black flower and sniffed it. He was caught off guard by the stench. It was very smelly. Even Ning Shu, who was in spirit form, almost vomited. Wasn't this flower always fragrant? Why did it become so smelly now? And he couldn't feel happy anymore. Ning Shu threw the flower away with a look of disgust. He sniffed his hands. His hands were covered in the stench. Ning Shu looked at the withered flowers on the coffee table. Unfortunately, they weren't like roses, which could stay fresh forever. A bouquet of fresh flowers was about to wither. Ning Shu threw the flowers into the trash can. With a tap of his finger, water appeared in front of him. Ning Shu washed his hands and picked up the red rose. He lay on the sofa and sniffed it while preparing to open the attribute panel. However, before she could click on it, the chat system rang. The sound was a little loud, and coupled with the silence in the room, Ning Shu almost peed in fright. Ning Shu grumbled and opened the chat system. He couldn't bear to look at it. The thing he hated the most now was to hear the chat system's voice. He always felt that something was going to happen. It was another message from the main system. It was a list of people to be killed. It was written on black paper with white handwriting. There were several names of people to be killed and the crimes they had committed. Killing the chicken to warn the monkey again. One of the law incarnations was highlighted, and the reason why it was killed made Ning Shu tremble. The reason was that it wanted to destroy the plane. When Ning Shu heard this, he felt that it was a little inconceivable. Logically speaking, those who could become the embodiment of the law were more experienced mission enforcers, so they would not do such a thing. How could such an idiotic act of wanting to destroy the world appear in the hands of an experienced mission enforcer? Could it be that he had been possessed and his mind wasn't clear? Or did he encounter something in the plane that made him want to destroy the entire plane in a fit of rage? No matter what the reason was, half of the dimension had been destroyed by this law incarnation. If it wasn't for the fact that the organization had managed to locate this law incarnation in the trillions of dimensions, the entire dimension would have been destroyed. This was a domino effect that caused a chain reaction. If he didn't kill this kind of lawless mission enforcer, was he going to keep him for the new year? The bravery of an ordinary man could only cause blood to splatter 10 feet. However, for someone with such great power, if they were careless and couldn't control themselves, then even billions of lives wouldn't be enough to destroy them. If an ordinary person was living peacefully, and then disaster struck out of nowhere, they should have died of old age, but they died without knowing why. Could it be that someone important had died? Some people were in pain, so they wanted the whole world to suffer with them. They wanted to destroy the whole world. Venting anger was a normal human reaction to alleviate the pain in one's heart. It was the world's fault. He heard that they didn't kill her immediately, but took her away. It was probably too easy for her to be killed directly. She must be suffering some kind of torture now. After all, everyone had to pay the price for their actions, no matter what the reason was. The organization has an ultimate torture. Do you want to know? I think she must have been sent there to be tortured. 2333 said mysteriously to Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, I don't want to know. He knew that it would leave a psychological shadow. 2333 said, that is to hang the mission enforcer up and let the souls of the dead in this world gnaw on her soul. The pain of the soul being gnawed on is heart-wrenching, and the pain must be magnified 10,000 times. It is 10,000 times more painful than giving birth to a child. Because these souls have grievances, it will affect the world. There are too many of them, and if they are placed in the world of reincarnation, it will be a burden to the world of reincarnation. Since that is the case, a special space will be opened, and the mission enforcer will be locked in with these souls, and let these souls gnaw on her flesh and blood. Ning Shu's chrysanthemum tightened. The torture will only end when the mission enforcer's soul is completely gnawed. However, these are all ordinary souls. Even if they gnaw on them, they can only gnaw on a little bit. To gnaw on the entire soul, especially the soul of a veteran mission enforcer, it will take an immeasurable amount of time. And the mission enforcer's merit and faith will enter the body of the soul gnawing on her soul. This is also a kind of compensation. How much you can get depends on your own luck. When the mission enforcer is completely gnawed, these souls will be forced into the pool of rebirth by His Excellency. Because the resentment will dissipate a little, and with some compensation, even if the mission enforcer is reincarnated, there will not be any rebellious thoughts, and it will have a huge impact on the world. This kind of mission enforcer is the most hated and detested by His Excellency. Not only His Excellency, but the entire organization will also carry out inhumane torture on these mission enforcers. Not only will it destroy the life dimension, but it will also cause great harm to the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu, damn, I'm so scared. Sure enough, there was a psychological shadow. Suddenly, he felt that being wiped out was not so hard to accept. After all, even if he died, it would be a matter of a moment, and it would not be painful for long. Countless souls gnawed at one soul. The tougher the soul of the mission enforcer was, the longer the pain would last. Damn it. I told you these things because we are tied together. No one can escape. Then what about the mission enforcer system? Ningshu asked. Of course, it will be tortured together with its mission enforcer. If its mission enforcer did such a thing, the system will not be able to absolve itself from the blame. Also, if the report is too late, when the organization goes, the world will be filled with wandering souls that cannot enter reincarnation. It will be like hell on earth. Ningshu hammered his chest. How scary. How much karma would be involved in destroying the world like this? The key was that it would be a painful death. How do you know? Ningshu asked. He did not expect 2333 to take the initiative to tell him this. At the time, the main system was in charge of informing every mission enforcer. 2333 said. The organization gave Ningshu the feeling that he had more important things to do now. If you jump up and down, you will die a terrible death. It was probably to avoid chaos in the organization. Ningshu felt that ordinary mission enforcers would not be able to affect the organization at all. After all, an individual could not leave the organization. However, if they caused trouble in the world and destroyed the world, it would be different. Chapter 2191. Ningshu replied to the main system with 2 words, got it. Then the main system sent another message, listing in detail the missions that mission takers of all levels needed to complete. At the end, it even acted cute, cheering everyone on. Ningshu was speechless. Not cute at all. As a super mission taker, Ningshu had a lot of missions. All mission takers were like this. Ningshu sighed. At this time, he could only try his best. He was tied to the organization, but he had to suffer a little. He didn't know what these missions were. The organization would rather go without than have substandard missions. In this situation, they actually killed a large number of mission takers. The mission takers' resources obviously couldn't maintain the situation of hundreds of millions of planes. Ningshu had a rough idea. The organization faced all the planes born from the Sea of Law, and they had to ensure that these planes were normal. There were internal reasons for the planes to be damaged, so there were mission takers. There could also be external damage. Maybe the planes were damaged from external sources. The organization was trying their best to save the plane's external injuries? He suddenly had a trace of respect for this crazy organization. When he felt that he was incomparably miserable, there were still unknown people protecting him. When he felt that the sky was falling, there were actually people holding it up. It was just that it was a little crazy to kill for no reason. The founder of the organization was probably crazy. It caused him to be completely unable to figure out the organization's methods. He had no idea what the other party wanted to do. No matter what, Ningshu now felt that he was on the same boat as the organization. As an ant that lived on the big tree that was the organization, Ningshu really didn't want anything to happen to the organization. He had to do missions again, and he had to do all kinds of missions. The workload suddenly increased. To be honest, now was not the best time to work. Ningshu put his hands together. Everything was fine. There was still a bright future waiting for him. Ningshu looked at his attribute panel. Name, Ningshu age, 27 level, Super Mission Taker Points card, 223 soul value, 16 health value, 14 wisdom, 16 luck, 18 charm, 11 spiritual power, 14 force, 17 aptitude, 17 faith, 270698 merit, 845211 soul strength, 71 authorization ticket, none pure heart, none law comprehended, water elemental law incarnation, construct a world. It might be the world of samsara. Items: calming halo, calming pill, faith halo, amulet 4, upgraded amulet +2. Honorary titles: Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Skills, 5th Ring Shooting Technique, Intermediate Fighting Technique, Intermediate Level Poison Technique, Beginner Level Business Management Knowledge, Beginner Level Code Programming, Beginner Level Lawyer Skill, Sage Ghost Catching Skill, Beginner Level Cooking Skill, Intermediate Level Embroidery Skill, Trash Hypnosis. Halo, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Sister Model Worker, Chen Shi's blessing. Leader Halo, grass blessing. Best friend of a lifetime, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Healer of the dying, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing. Founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing. Lawful lady, Chen Ning's blessing. Bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing. Transcending race communication, Bai San Yang's blessing. Brave heart, Wang Ying's blessing. Bloodthirsty tyrant, Enai Bingyan's blessing. Completed Ji Xiang's wish, research a way to eliminate zombies. Mission completion rate, 60%. Mission reward, 5-point cards, 5 attribute points, 50% of soul power, 7,500 faith power, including previous world's accumulation, 70,000 merit points, and an additional 40% of soul power. Ning Shu originally did not have much expectations for this world, and the mission completion rate was only 60%. However, he actually received 70,000 merit points, which made up for the sadness in his heart. This 70,000 merit points was probably because he solved the problem of the space. However, the soul power was a little low, only 50%. That meant that the system took away 40%, leaving 2333 with a fixed 10%. Fortunately, the soul power from the purified soul stone was enough to make up for the loss. From now on, Ning Shu felt that he had a lot to learn. He had to learn how to solve the system's problems. Relying on 2333 was not a long-term thing. In the future, when he encountered a system mission, if 2333 did not help, he could only watch the system choose a new host and start another round of fighting. He would be as tired as a dead dog. Many skills, many paths, I want to develop in the direction of omnipotence. Ha! Ning Shu's heart let out a barbell-like smile. Ning Shu sat cross-legged, absorbing the soul power this time. Because he had collected a lot of soul stones with golden soul origin, this time the soul origin was unprecedented. Ning Shu opened his eyes and looked at his own soul. It seemed to have changed. He could not tell what was different, but he felt that it was more real. It was a lot stronger. It was great. Even the texture of the clothes he was wearing was different. Ning Shu put his hands on his waist and turned a circle. The feeling of the skirt falling was incomparably good. As he walked, it swayed, very elegant. It looked good. Ning Shu showed off for a moment and added the attribute points. Name, Ning Shu H, 27 level, Super Mission Taker Points card, 223 plus 5, 10 million points for 1-point card, soul value, 16 health points, 14 wisdom, 16 luck, 18 charm, 11 spiritual power, 14 plus 5 martial strength, 17 aptitude, 17 faith, 270690 plus 7500 merit points, 845211 plus 70,000 soul strength, 71 plus 10 authorization ticket, none pure heart, none comprehended law, water law incarnation, constructed world, suspected to be the world of reincarnation items, calm aura, heart setting pill, faith aura. Amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles. War God Empress, selfless ancestor skills. 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate fighting technique, intermediate level poison technique, beginner level business management knowledge, beginner level code programming, beginner level lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner level cooking skill, intermediate level embroidery skill, trash hypnosis aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chen Shi's blessing, leader, aura, grass blessing, lifelong friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing, life-saving hand, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, lawful lady, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, transcending race communication, Bai San Yang's blessing, brave heart, Wang Ying's blessing, bloodthirsty tyrant, Enai Bingyan's blessing. Ning Shu directly added all his attribute points to spiritual power. He was too lazy to add them bit by bit. Moreover, the attribute points this time were very few, only 5. This time, the mission barely passed. However, it was very dangerous. If he accumulated a certain amount of points, he might face the possibility of being obliterated. Ning Shu took the bottle of spirit liquid to the 9 Palace Mountain to exchange for more spirit stones. When he had accumulated enough spirit stones, he would go and complete the mission given by the main system. Ning Shu suddenly thought of something. He did not know if Ji Xiang had returned to the incomparably difficult post-apocalyptic era. Chapter 2192. The apocalypse would definitely destroy the world. There was no way one person could turn the tide. This was for the sake of the entire world. I tricked him into reincarnating. I told him that there are many worlds in this world, and there are all kinds of worlds. There is a world where you can live forever through cultivation, an ancient world where you can have 3 wives and 4 beautiful women in your arms, and a world with advanced technology. 2333 said. Ning Shu asked, then where did he go? After jumping into the pool of rebirth, everything from the past was erased. Everything had to start from scratch. I told him that he had some merit on him, and he would definitely join a good person's family in the future. No matter what world it was all about the father. He wouldn't be bad. In the modern world, he might be a domineering Xiu. Ning Shu was speechless. Then where did he choose to go? Ning Shu asked. After talking for so long, he didn't get to the point. He went to the ancient world. He said he wanted to build a career, but who knows which world he would join. Ning Shu could imagine 2333 shrugging his shoulders and curling his lips when he said this. He only cared about tricking people away. If she had to choose, she would definitely choose a world where she could live forever. Although it was cruel, she could obtain power. But everyone's choice was different. According to Ji Xiang's personality, building a career? But maybe Ji Xiang would become a decisive general in the ancient world. The soul that jumped into the pool of rebirth was very blank. It depended on what color was painted on the soul. This was good too. Everyone was relatively satisfied. If it wasn't for me, this Ji Xiang would have failed, 2333 said. Ning Shu just said, you said that in a situation where the world and the mission are in conflict, even if the person who asked me to fail the mission, the main system would still say that I passed the mission. So, 2333 was asking for credit. Haha, did you forget what you said just now? 2333. Tisk, not cute at all. 2333 took out a jade bottle and started to use his spiritual power to fill it. Ning Shu hummed a little tune as he packed the bottles. When he saw these bottles, Ning Shu's mind automatically replaced them with soul stones. There were so many soul stones. Ding dong. Ning Shu wanted to roll her eyes. Recently, her chat system had been ringing frequently. It hadn't been ringing for a long time. Ning Shu placed the bottle in his messen space and opened the chat system. It was a reply from Mei Ziqing. She sent a very tired emoji and asked to meet up for a drink. Ning Shu looked at Mei Ziqing's half-dead appearance and asked, "You've fallen out of love?" "No, I didn't fall out of love." Ning Shu pondered for a moment and went to Water City as well. He also went to see Tian's auction house to ask if there were any light and darkness attribute world sources. Ning Shu didn't have much hope for the 2 stones on Xiaohu's body. He didn't know what kind of deformed objects they were, but they weren't. Most likely, they wouldn't be able to hatch. Moreover, she was no longer a fugitive, so she could go to every lost city to see if there was anything she needed. Although prices were going crazy now, as long as it was something that was needed, it didn't matter if it was expensive. Building a world was an urgent matter. Earning money was to buy these things. Ning Shu appeared in Water City. Walking on the limestone floor, she felt like she was walking on water. With a tap of her toes, ripples appeared. It was a little fun. She checked the barrier of Water City. Outside the barrier was the violent power of law. Although it didn't have much effect on her, it was a disaster for ordinary mission enforcers. Ning Shu arrived at Mei Ziqing's restaurant. Mei Ziqing had already ordered a table full of dishes and drinks. She was slowly tasting them alone. Ning Shu sat down and asked, "Where's Xiaohua?" "He ran away," Mei Ziqing said calmly. "Ran away?" Ning Shu was surprised. "Did I think he ran away? Could it be that Xiaohua couldn't take it anymore and ran away from Mei Ziqing? Or maybe he didn't like the oppressive life of a mission enforcer. Could it be that Xiaohua was in puberty, and Mei Ziqing kept him locked up, so he ran away to resist? Perhaps Xiaohua was in his 2nd stage of puberty. With the thought of, "I'd rather die without freedom," he ran away. Facing the morning sun, she went to pursue her freedom, leaving behind a lonely Mei Ziqing to cry silently. Chapter 2192, Purely Seeking Death. Hey, what are you thinking? Mei Ziqing said unhappily. Xiaohua said he wanted to go out and play. I see. She was still not used to the dull life in the system space. When Mei Ziqing went to do missions, Xiaohua was alone. Even if there was a system in the system space, the system existed to help mission enforcers. It didn't exist to help mission enforcers' sons, lovers, child husbands, or siblings chat to relieve their boredom. It was a living and intelligent existence. It wasn't like feeding a pet, giving it food and drink, or even needing companionship. It didn't exist because you needed companionship when you were lonely, but because you needed companionship when you were lonely. It wasn't a puppet. Mei Ziqing was a mission enforcer. Completing missions was something she had to do. She didn't have much time to accompany Xiaohua. No one could ask the other to do anything. They just stayed there quietly. When I needed you, you would appear. When I didn't need you, you wouldn't appear. Where did he go? Ning Shu asked. He ran away with Pan Qin, Mei Ziqing said as she took a sip of wine. Ning Shu? You mean the stone spirit Pan Qin who kills without karma? Ning Shu asked. Pan Qin was dealt with by the Grand Elder last time. Why did he run out now? Why was Xiaohua with him? He must have snuck out while the Grand Elder and the silver-haired man were asking for donations. Once he ran out, he came to kidnap Xiaohua. Damn, Xiaohua was no match for him. Even his mental strength was no match for him. Then why are you drinking so calmly? You're not in a hurry. Ning Shu also took a sip. It was a little numb, but also a little sweet. It had a rich fragrance. It tasted better than the wine he drank in the plane. Xiaohua asked me and I agreed to let him go out. Let him learn something from Pan Qin. I realized that I can't give him anything if he stays by my side. He doesn't even have freedom. It's better to let him go out and explore. He'll learn from his mistakes, Mei Ziqing said slowly. Ning Shu was speechless. It's good that you've thought it through. But Pan Qin is always thinking about Xiaohua. If he's not thinking about his strength, he's thinking about his butt. Mei Ziqing spat out the wine in her mouth, almost spitting it onto the food on the table. Ning Shu quickly covered it with his hand. Cough cough. Mei Ziqing took a sip and calmed herself down. You're thinking too much. What do you mean by thinking about his butt? Chapter 2193. Ning Shu had just returned from the apocalypse and immediately thought of this. It was completely a conditioned reflex. You're wrong. If he's not trying to swallow Xiaohua's power, then it must be love. Otherwise, why would he always look for Xiaohua? Mei Ziqing spat out the tea in his mouth. Please shut up. Ning Shu, all right. Mei Ziqing gritted his teeth. If Pan Qin dares to do anything to Xiaohua, I won't let him off. Maybe you're overthinking. He's just trying to swallow Xiaohua's power. It's not love. Ning Shu comforted him. I'm begging you to shut up. Both of these things would kill her. She would lose her life and lose her chastity. My Xiaohua. Mei Ziqing regretted letting Xiaohua go with Pan Qin. Then why did you let him go? Ning Shu asked. After all, Pan Qin was a lawless rock spirit. He wouldn't be punished by the heavens no matter what he did. The only person who could barely hold him down was the judge. Xiaohua told me that he wanted to go out with a senior. This senior was Pan Qin, but Pan Qin said that he wouldn't do anything to Xiaohua. We're all rocks born from the same roots. There's no need to be so anxious. He didn't look like he was lying. I went to do my mission. Xiaohua was very lonely in the system space, or in Water City. He was very lonely without any companions. So I let Xiaohua go out with him. Even if Pan Qin really does harm to Xiaohua, Xiaohua has experienced it before. He should be more careful. Pan Qin's attitude is very good. Shut up. I know what you want to say. You're treating me like your mother-in-law, right? Mei Ziqing said. Ning Shu covered his mouth and laughed. If it's really love, then Xiaohua will have a companion to play with. They could play a game of pa, 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 pa. What love? Pan Qin has bad intentions. I have to find Xiaohua. The more Mei Ziqing thought about it, the more he regretted it. Of course, he felt that Xiaohua was pitiful and lonely. It would be great to go out and see the world. However, after hearing Ning Shu's nonsense, Mei Ziqing became even more worried. We have to let Xiaohua experience the good and the evil. It's good to let him know the human heart. Don't worry. Although Xiaohua is young, he knows how to protect himself. This is his instinct. Ning Shu clinked his wine glass with Mei Ziqing's. He couldn't keep him locked up forever. Mei Ziqing thought about it and said, "Should we contact Pan Chen's master?" "I don't think so. Do you have a way to contact him? Besides, looking for him for this kind of thing is simply courting death." Ning Shu quickly shook his head. "I was forced to donate it. Besides, the organization is busy right now. Otherwise, why would Pan Chen run out? Even if we called him, he wouldn't have paid any attention to us." Ning Shu was most afraid of losing his money. Whenever he saw someone, he would leak out his money. He would hide far away like the plague. In the past, when he was a fugitive, he would run whenever he saw someone. Now that he was no longer a fugitive, he would still run whenever he saw someone. You say how much of a failure a judge is. Mei Ziqing was just saying. He didn't expect anything at all. He just sighed. Sometimes, I envy those who are alone. They have companionship and their troubles. Loneliness has its benefits. Mei Ziqing sighed. You say that I never learned to be obedient or that I'm soft-hearted, Mei Ziqing said. Back then, when I saved Xiaohua, I couldn't fulfill my responsibility. Ning Shu thought of Mei Ziqing's ex-boyfriend who had died. He had sacrificed a plane to create his own world. In the end, he had been obliterated. Don't be afraid. There will be more setbacks in the future. Hang in there. There's nothing you can't get through. There will be more setbacks ahead. Ning Shu comforted Mei Ziqing. Everyone has had so many setbacks. Do you feel better? Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu from the corner of his eyes. Not at all. Forget it. Let's drink. Xiaohua is an individual. I can't tie him to my belt for the rest of his life. He has to experience it himself, Mei Ziqing said. Sir, this is a complimentary dish from our restaurant. The waiter brought a plate of exquisite dishes to them. Ning Shu raised his head and looked upstairs. Shu Bai was leaning against the railing. She was still wearing an intellectual qipao and holding an embroidered fan. She smiled at Ning Shu. Ning Shu returned a smile. Ning Shu wanted to control his own fate one day. He also wanted to open a small restaurant and do some business occasionally. It was quite interesting. However, he had to control his own fate first. He didn't expect the restaurant to make money. He could use his skills to sell something. Living the life of a retired old lady was also quite interesting. She was carefree and relaxed. Oh, I like it. When he was strong, no one would dare to find trouble with him. The more he thought about it, the more tempted he was. However, Ning Shu suppressed this impulse. He had too many things to do now. It was better to wait for such things. He wanted to stand at the top of the Forbidden City. This meal was Mei Ziqing's treat. As a woman, she was in a bad mood. She bought. Swiping her identity card was satisfying and heart-wrenching. In short, it was very satisfying. Ning Shu arrived at Si Tian's auction house. Ning Shu and Mei Ziqing wanted to join in the fun. They really didn't want to buy anything. Really. Si Tian arranged a private room for Ning Shu. Ning Shu and Mei Ziqing sat in the private room. Tea, pastries, and fruits were served. It was much more comfortable than in the main hall. It was much more comfortable to watch the fun. However, it seemed a little apologetic to not buy anything and occupy a private room. Si Tian was a very calculating person. She definitely wouldn't participate in the auction this time. Ning Shu asked Si Tian, "Is there a world source?" Si Tian replied, "No. No matter what attribute you want, we don't have it. However, there are many treasures this time. You can take a look." I'm really just looking around. The auction started. It was a beautiful female auctioneer. Women had advantages. Beautiful women had even more advantages. Men didn't want to be looked down upon in front of women. Sometimes, they would spend a lot of money to boost their spending. Being pretentious was a human need. Even mission enforcers were the same. Ning Shu nibbled on a sweet melon as he looked at the auction items. Ning Shu didn't bid once because he didn't have much money. Secondly, Ning Shu didn't need these items. However, there was a space up for auction this time. It was a space that could form a plane. As long as the source of the metal, wood, water, fire, earth, light, and darkness worlds were gathered, it was possible to form a life world that belonged to oneself. Mission enforcers who entered the space of laws were all super mission enforcers. At this stage, everyone was thinking about how to take the next step and break through to a higher level. That was to form their own life world. Therefore, when this space appeared, it attracted many heated gazes. They stared at the space. This space was a pearl. Chapter 2194. As soon as the world carrier appeared, all the super mission enforcers' emotions fluctuated. Ning Shu didn't feel much about this bead because he already had a world carrier. He hadn't gotten his hands on another one, so he shouldn't bite off more than he could chew. If he missed out on this bead, Ning Shu wouldn't feel anything. However, he had missed out on the world tree previously. That was a world tree with a single leaf and a world. Therefore, Ning Shu's emotions didn't fluctuate at all. Even if he bought this bead, he would put it on the shelf and collect dust. He hadn't even succeeded in one world yet, so he didn't know when he would succeed in this one. Ning Shu saw from the corner of his eye that Mei Ziqing was staring at the bead on the tray on the auction stage. This bead emitted a colorful glow and was very beautiful. However, Mei Ziqing's expression turned gloomy. This kind of world carrier was too expensive. She couldn't afford it. Mei Ziqing was discouraged and her shoulders drooped. Mission enforcers dreamed of having their own living world. With a living world, they would be able to jump out of the shackles of ordinary mission enforcers and have a wider world. They wouldn't have to worry about being obliterated. Even if they did something wrong, they would be punished, but their lives wouldn't be in danger. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He watched the auction progress. The price was 450,000 merit points, and each increment was at least 10,000 merit points. A world carrier like this cost so much merit points. She only got 70,000 merit points for saving a world. Businessmen were simply robbers. The image of Si Tianxian in his wide-sleeved robes appeared in Ning Shu's mind. He looked elegant, but these people's minds were filled with schemes. Mei Ziqing heard the price and felt hopeless. 45 merit points, and she had to compete with so many people. Her chances of getting it were close to zero. Moreover, she didn't have 45 merit points. Generally speaking, mission enforcers who weren't city lords and didn't do business didn't have much merit points. Unless you saved one world after another and accumulated a terrifying amount of wealth. However, such people were rare. However, mission enforcers also had a lot of ways to make money. If they encountered any treasure in the mission world, they could sell it and make money, merit, or faith power. Some people made several tentative bids, and the price rose to 500,000 merit points. Mei Ziqing wanted to say something but stopped. Ning Shu kept his mouth shut and waited for Mei Ziqing to speak. The price was too high. Mei Ziqing saw that the world carrier was about to fall into the hands of others. He took a deep breath and said to Ning Shu, "Ning Shu." Ning Shu turned his head to look at Mei Ziqing. Mei Ziqing didn't have the courage to speak. He shook his head and said, "Nothing." Mei Ziqing knew that Ning Shu might have money on him. As the city lord of Water City, she was supported by a huge amount of taxes, but that was still her money. The relationship between the two of them was just that they could talk. Sometimes, they would get together to chat. However, when it came to money, they weren't that close. The bidding continued. Mei Ziqing encouraged him again and again. He said to Ning Shu, "You know what I want to say. I want this world carrier. I have been a super mission enforcer for a long time. I want to give it a try. This is not a small sum. We can form a contract. I can return all of this to you, no matter how long it takes. If something happens to me along the way and I die, my soul energy and soul origin will be yours," Mei Ziqing said to Ning Shu seriously. "Contract?" Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. Mei Ziqing said, "There is a contract in the shop. It's similar to an IOU. It has the ability to collect debts. If I die, my soul power and soul origin will be yours. Ning Shu didn't know about such a tool. He usually didn't pay attention to such things. If something happened to the borrower, his soul would be hers. This was the legendary saying that even the dead wouldn't be spared. Hundreds of thousands of merit points. Ning Shu felt that he should consider it. The contract was very overbearing. If you wanted to escape with your life, your soul power and soul origin would be the creditors. Aren't all the souls collected by the main system? How can they be in the hands of the borrower? Ning Shu asked. Then, is the soul power and soul origin of the borrower pure? If it wasn't pure, the main system would have to purify it. Then, the main system would have to give a portion of it away. Damn, Ning Shu more or less understood the tricks of these dogs. They were all fucking evil. I didn't pay attention to that. Let me check the description of the contract, Mei Ziqing said. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu also opened up the system exchange store and flipped to the contract book. The contract book was created by the system to prevent conflicts between quest takers. It also had the ability to ask for payment. When the time came, it would automatically ask for payment. There was no need for the creditor to hesitate and ask for payment. Ning Shu was more concerned about whether the soul of the borrower would be pure if something happened to her and she was killed. After flipping through the description for a long time, the last page said that the cost of purification would be 20% of the profit. Ning Shu was speechless. Familiar formula, familiar tricks. Mei Ziqing and Ning Shu looked at each other. Ning Shu. Mei Ziqing looked at Ning Shu. With this contract, I will have to repay my debt for the rest of my life. Even if I die, it will be yours. With such a strong contract, there was basically nothing to worry about. Furthermore, mission enforcers who had reached this stage wouldn't easily die, let alone die for a little debt. Mission enforcers had plenty of time. The debt might seem huge now, but it would take a long time. Ning Shu was now calculating how much money she had on hand. She had forced him to donate nearly 700,000 yuan. She had also bought cultivation manuals and spirit stones. He now had more than 18 million faith power and 540,000 merit points in his account. If he lent Mei Ziqing more than 500,000 merit points, he would lose all his merit points. How much do you need? Ning Shu asked Mei Ziqing. Mei Ziqing said, I have 150,000 merit points. Mei Ziqing was good at making money. It was good enough for a normal mission enforcer to have so much merit points. Then I'll lend you 400,000. Ning Shu said. He took out his identity card and transferred 400,000 to Mei Ziqing. He only had 100,000 merit points left. He would have to wait for the next tax, which would take a long time. Ning Shu, thank you, thank you. Mei Ziqing hugged Ning Shu. Ning Shu pushed her away. Remember to pay the money on time. Chapter 2196. Damn, this city is so dangerous. Ning Shu was almost cut by the space blade again. Even if my soul is water, if the water is stored in 2 different sealed bottles, how can it be gathered together? Although this city is dangerous, the flow of people here is bursting. The more dangerous it is, the more people are attracted. If I can master such a powerful law, I will be invincible. This was only the city, and the power of the laws was just a little bit. If it was outside the city, it wouldn't be much of a scene. In an instant, the power of space would have shredded everything into nothingness. This is awesome. I heard that some people used the law of space to create a living world and create their own space. However, a living world must have a carrier. Only with a carrier can it last for a long time. Ning Shu was exhausted from walking in the city of space. She lost her way and couldn't find where she should go. If one day she understands a little bit of the law of space, she will be able to move freely in the city of space. After all, there is a small test before entering a city. It tests if you can pass a little bit of the law of the city. Ning Shu said to 2333, take me back to the system space. How long will I have to walk around here? It's fine if I can't find the world origin, but I still have to go to 9 Palace Mountain to exchange for some soul stones. I have to enter the 2nd floor of 9 Palace Mountain. Ning Shu felt like she didn't have enough time. Her schedule was really packed. She even said she wanted to learn how to fight the system. Ning Shu scratched her head. Why am I getting busier? Fine, I'll do it one by one. Ning Shu returned to the system space and took the meson space from the table. With a tap of her finger, she walked into the black hole. Ning Shu stood in front of Nine Palace Mountain and looked at the vast black land. She didn't know how the world of reincarnation has evolved. A world without the pool of reincarnation is not the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu placed her hand on the stone wall of the Nine Palace Mountain and was instantly pulled into the Nine Palace Mountain. Looking around, it was a familiar place. Why didn't Nine Palace Mountain send her to the second floor? It kept wandering around the first floor. Could it be that she can only enter the second floor after passing it? He had nothing to say about Nine Palace Mountain. He felt that it was a mountain with principles. Could it be that her strength was only enough to enter the first level, so she could only wander around the second level? If she passed the second level, perhaps she would be pulled to the second level. With Nine Palace Mountain's intelligence, how could it differentiate strength? Ning Shu felt that with his power of laws, he could be considered quite powerful on the first level, so he wanted to try the second level. They had to pass through the wind blades and enter the second layer. Ning Shu first went to the Soul Stone mine to look at his fish tank. It had been there for so long, and he wondered how much damage it had absorbed from the Soul Stone mine. Ning Shu flew above the Soul Stone mine. There were still wind blades flying everywhere. The fish tank was safe and sound inside the enchantment. If there were any wind blades that came into contact with the fish tank's law of nothingness, they would be swallowed. Sometimes, Ning Shu really envied the law of nothingness's ability to fuse with any attack. Was it fusing with his own power or devouring it? Either way, it was quite awesome. Ning Shu decided to give it a try. His entire soul turned into a drop of water and dripped into the fish tank, causing ripples. But in the next second, a drop of water rushed out of the fish tank. Ning Shu felt as though she had seen a ghost. As soon as she entered the tank, her soul began to melt. This melting feeling made her feel as though her body was disappearing bit by bit. He struggled with all his might, but his struggles were very weak. It was like a broken boat in a tsunami. It was very weak. Fortunately, he had the power of laws. The water pushed him out of the fish tank. Ning Shu looked at his own soul. It seemed to have dimmed a lot. He didn't have the ability, yet he was still dreaming. Ning Shu smiled bitterly. He wasn't strong enough yet, so he was still daydreaming. He was biting off more than he could chew. Ning Shu slapped himself in the face. His mind was muddled. If he couldn't get out, there would be no Ning Shu in the world. I'll wait. I'll come back when I'm more powerful. One day, I'll be able to deal with him. Not only did she covet the law of nothingness's power, but she also didn't want to waste the hundreds of thousands of merit points. Speaking of which, how long had it been? She had already used up most of the merit points from the tax. If she encountered something precious, she definitely wouldn't have enough merit points. However, he still had more than 2 million faith power. Otherwise, Ning Shu would be very worried about having no food at home. He lost some of his soul power again and melted it into the law of nothingness. He couldn't afford to offend this ancestor for the time being. Ning Shu adjusted his mentality and decided to challenge the second level of Nine Palace Mountain. The entrance to the second level was guarded by a few big families in the city who took turns collecting taxes. If he wanted to enter, he had to pay the taxes first. Ning Shu handed over 2 bottles of spirit liquid and entered the pitch-black tunnel. Fortunately, he had mental power. It didn't matter if his eyes couldn't see. In an instant, countless wind blades flew towards Ning Shu. Especially in the narrow passageway, there was nowhere for him to hide. When Ning Shu saw these wind blades, his face turned green. Damn, these weren't wind blades at all. They were spatial blades that were 10,000 times more dangerous than wind blades. If they were wind blades, Ning Shu felt that he could pass through. However, if they were spatial blades, Ning Shu wasn't confident. He also didn't know how long this tunnel was. The attacks from behind would definitely be more intense. Ning Shu cried out and turned around to run out of the tunnel. The guards guarding the tunnel couldn't help but laugh. They had seen many people who wanted to go up, but under the threat of the wind blades, They all ran back with their tails between their legs. Ning Shu gave the middle finger to the entrance in his heart. Wait for me to learn the law of space. I'll come again. Just you wait. Ning Shu arrived at the mansion of the previous young master and knocked on the door. The one who opened the door was a servant. When he saw Ning Shu, he immediately closed the door. Ning Shu didn't care and continued to knock on the door. After knocking for a while, the servant opened the door and opened a gap. From the gap, the servant said to Ning Shu, "My young master is not at home." "Is he really not at home?" Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and asked. "There is no place to hide from my divine sense. I am looking for your young master." The servant said with some grief and indignation, "My young master is really not at home. He went back to the main house. He really is not at home." "It doesn't matter if he is not at home. I just want to ask you, which family in the city has a lot of soul stones and is short of spirit stones?" The servant said with a bitter face, "Great aunt, how many soul stones does a family have? I am just a servant. How can I know how much wealth a big family has? If you want to talk about soul stones, then it must be Lu family. They are all souls and need soul stones to cultivate." The servant said. Lu family had already exchanged 2 secret books last time. If they wanted to exchange again, they wouldn't be able to exchange for any high-quality soul stones. Chapter 2197. Even if she went to the Lu family, she would definitely be chased out of the house. Over and over again, the Lu family would probably be pissed off. Except for the Lu family. Ning Shu sat on the steps and patted the stone steps beside him. "Let's have a good chat." The servant was speechless. "Who's close to you?" But under the threat of strength, the servant sat down and said, "I really don't know which family has more soul stones." "Then you should know which family has soul stone mines." Ning Shu's appetite was a little picky now. He wanted golden soul stones of higher quality. When there was nothing left on the first level, he would go to the second level. When there was nothing left on the second level, he would go to the third level. There were 9 levels. Ning Shu could see an endless stream of soul stones flying towards him. The Li family, the Lu family, and our master's family all have soul stone mines. Among them, the Lu family has the most soul stone mines. They use their spirit veins to exchange for soul stone mines from other families, the servant said honestly. Ning Shu rubbed his chin and pondered. So he still had to catch the Lu family sheep? Ning Shu took out a bottle of spirit liquid and gave it to the servant. "Here." Thank you, thank you." The servant immediately reached out and received it with a smile. The purity of a bottle of spirit liquid was more than 20 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, it was easier to absorb in liquid form. Ning Shu stood up and stretched. He couldn't take advantage of the Lu family for the time being. After all, the 2 secret manuals had cost the Lu family a lot. The Lu family couldn't exchange any more precious items. Even if they could, they might not be satisfied with the price. It seemed like he had to learn how to purify soul stones himself. The main system took away so many soul stones. It really made his liver hurt. He had no choice but to accept this distribution method. Now, Ning Shu had to set up a stall to exchange soul stones of lower quality. Ning Shu felt that it was very troublesome. It was easy to go from frugal to extravagant, but difficult to go from extravagant to frugal. Moreover, he didn't have anything precious on him. The prices were as unstable as mad dogs. Therefore, Ning Shu avoided using high prices to exchange for things with high prices. He would use the spirit liquid to exchange for some ordinary soul stones first. "Young master?" The servant saw a young master in soul form running towards him. He rubbed his eyes. Didn't the young master have a physical body? How did he become a soul? Furthermore, it was such a weak soul. Ning Shu looked at the disheveled young master. His soul was so transparent that it was about to dissipate. Ning Shu couldn't help but think to himself, "Now that you've become a soul, I want to see how you're going to do that with a beauty." When the young master saw Ning Shu, who was wearing a long dress and smiling, he immediately looked as if he had eaten a fly. He quickly wanted to enter the house, but he was surrounded by the people who had followed him. These people had weapons that targeted the soul. Not only did they want to destroy young master's physical body, they also wanted to destroy his soul. The servant's neck was suddenly choked, and he no longer dared to call him young master. Firstly, he was afraid that it would distract the young master. Secondly, these people were all very strong. He was only at the golden core stage, and he simply could not deal with these people. As for the great aunt beside him, if he remembered correctly, she had a grudge against the young master. At this time, it was already very kind of her not to join the team that surrounded the young master. Ning Shu looked at the young master's dispirited appearance with a face full of grief, indignation, and helplessness. He gritted his teeth and was full of hatred. There was also deep sadness and despair in his eyes. Don't ask how Ning Shu could tell, because he shouted, "Why do you want to kill all of us?" Second young master only needs to die. When Ning Shu heard this, he instantly imagined a plot of brothers fighting against each other and killing each other in the same clan. He guessed that the young master also wanted to be a hated existence in the family. The young master caught a glimpse of Ning Shu, who was watching the show from the corner of his eye. He immediately shouted, "Stupid woman, how long are you going to watch the show for? At most, I'll chase all the singers out of the mansion and leave you alone in the mansion. I'm about to be killed now. Do you have the heart to do that?" Ning Shu shrugged. "The servant? Young master, what are you talking about? Do you think that there aren't enough people who want to kill you?" The people chasing him looked at Ning Shu. She seemed to be a beauty. According to the second young master's animal, he would definitely eat her. But it was just a soul. Ning Shu pointed at the young master. "You're so fickle. Even if you die outside, I can't be bothered to care about you," Ning Shu said as she entered the door. Then she closed the door with a bang. The young master? The servant? That great aunt must have slipped away. The young master's heart was filled with grief and indignation. He originally wanted to distract himself so that he could enter the residence. Once the powerful array inside was activated, he would be temporarily safe. Although he didn't have a physical body, where there was life, there was hope. Why didn't this damn woman follow the rules? Why didn't she quibble? Not only did she say that there was nothing between the two of them, she even closed the door from the inside. What was she doing? The young master's face was filled with despair. If his soul didn't scatter today, he would be captured and become the artifact's spirit. He was even going to be used by the person he called Big Brother. He might as well die. The manservant paced around anxiously at the door and whispered through the crack of the door, Madam, don't joke around. Now it's a matter of life and death. Open the door so that the formation in the house can protect the young master." Ning Shu felt that this young master needed to be taught a lesson. It was good that he was taught a lesson. Young master, who had become a soul, could only rely on his instincts to fight. He was used to his physical body and didn't even know how to use his soul to fight. When the artifact that harmed the soul hit his body, the young master felt like his soul was about to be torn apart. The key was that his soul was getting dimmer and was about to scatter. The servant's hair stood up and he knocked on the door furiously. Open the door, open the door." Ning Shu used his mental strength to sweep and saw that the young master's soul was about to scatter. He snapped his fingers and the assassins were covered by a bubble-like barrier. Ning Shu pointed and the assassins felt like the blood in their bodies started to flow in the opposite direction. Their internal energy couldn't be stabilized anymore. Poo, pew, pew. All of them started to spit out blood. The blood vessels in their bodies swelled up like their blood was about to surge out of their bodies. The barrier slowly closed and they felt like the pressure within was getting bigger and bigger. They found it hard to breathe. Their bodies were under huge pressure and they started to spit out blood. They were about to spit out 3 liters of blood. Young master was stunned when he saw that. He guessed that it might have been that girl who did it. But his words definitely annoyed her. Would the fuck swallow him up? Some strong soul cultivators would swallow souls. The stronger the soul, the more beneficial it would be. He really left the tiger's den and was about to enter the wolf's mouth. Who knew how that girl would treat him? Was it too late to kneel down now? Ning Shu released the barrier and these people rolled and crawled away. They didn't dare to cause trouble anymore. He hadn't even attacked and they were already like this. They couldn't beat him. Chapter 2198. Young master looked at the door of the house and didn't have the courage to walk in. The servant hurried over to help him, but his hand went through young master's body. He forgot that young master was now a weak soul. Young master. The servant cautiously called out to the young master. Did something happen when you went to the main house this time? Are you a pig? It's so obvious. Young master said directly. Can't you see that I've become a ghost? With a creak, the door opened. Ning Shu walked out with her arms crossed. She looked at the young master with a smile. You said that you wanted to dismiss the singers in the house for me. Is that true? Young master, there are no singers in the young master's mansion. Those singers are all hired from the opera house to put on a show. My young master is very clean. The servant quickly said. Ning Shu, young master, did I allow you to speak? Young master was angry. He reached out to kick the servant, but his soul went through the servant. The servant was afraid, but seeing that young master couldn't do anything to him, he laughed. Young master saw that the situation was better than him. He could only say to Ning Shu, Miss, I had no choice. Please don't take offense. To be honest, young master didn't want to be devoured by this woman. He was made like this. If he didn't get back, he wouldn't be able to take it. Ning Shu laughed. Her expression was disdainful. Young master's face darkened. What expression? He your sister. Ning Shu thought of the first time he saw a young master. He had a beauty in his arms and a beauty lying on the bed. That was called indulging in luxury. In the end, it was all fake. Ning Shu said, We have some debts to settle. You wanted to kill me. You got cheated on your first business deal. He didn't get cheated. It was really bad. He had just gotten away with one wave, and now he wanted to find trouble with him again. Big Brother's people wanted him dead. If he fell into the hands of this woman, would he suffer a fate worse than death? If it was a fate worse than death, he would rather die in Big Brother's hands. Ning Shu said, Don't be nervous. I'm here to exchange soul stones with you. I don't have any soul stones. I've already exchanged all my soul stones with you. It seemed like he had become a spirit now. If he wanted to cultivate, he would have to absorb the energy from the soul stone. Fuck, he didn't have any soul stones. Previously, he had despised the soul stones for being useless. Now he needed them. He wanted revenge. Then what's the use of you? Ning Shu looked at Gongzi expressionlessly. Don't forget that I saved you. I didn't ask you to save me. Young master straightened his neck and said, Young master, don't say any more. You can't beat her. If those people were all beaten away with young master's current state, he wouldn't even be able to stretch out his fingers. The young master was silent. Looking at Ning Shu's eyes, he finally said, Nothing happened to you in the past? It's nothing. I'm the only one who can beat you. If I'm not strong enough, I'll be ruined and robbed. You want to rob me of my spirit liquid? Ning Shu said, You're a spirit. How can I ruin you? Who in the spirit liquid city doesn't want your spirit liquid? I'm the only one who made a move. The young master couldn't help but say with a green face. Who was so amazing to ruin a spirit? Yo, you still have reason, right? Ning Shu condensed a whip in her hand. With a snap, a loud sound rang out in the air. Are you asking for a beating? Didn't we have a deal? What do I owe you that you want to kill me? Ning Shu stared at Gongzi with a cold expression. It was as if she was going to kill a god or a Buddha. Gongzi felt that if he said something wrong, he would be whipped to death. What does this woman want to do? If you want to kill me, then kill me. Why are you being so noisy? Gongzi felt that what he did was unreasonable, but who asked you to be alone? It would be a waste not to take advantage of this situation. There were countless people in the city who wanted to snatch the spirit liquid in her hands. Say it. Ning Shu swung the whip. The whip let out a loud sound that made one's hair stand on end. How painful would it be if it hit the body? Ning Shu said, I specialize in targeting the spirit. If it hits the spirit will be torn apart many times. It's very annoying. What a vicious woman. Great aunt, what do you want? The manservant asked in horror. Could it be that she wanted to capture young master and use the whip to whip him? There wasn't such a huge hatred. Young master, you're crazy. If he knew earlier, he wouldn't have provoked this lunatic. He could use the spirit stones that he didn't exchange for. Where would he go to find spirit stones to cultivate in the future? Returning to the main house now was pretty much courting death. He didn't have spirit stones and even provoked this lunatic. His life was so bitter. What do you want? Give me a definite answer. Ning Shu beckoned to Gongzi. Come here. What? Gongzi asked hesitantly. I told you to come here. Gongzi, go over. The manservant said. Apart from showing weakness, there was no other way. Gongzi slowly moved in front of Ning Shu. Looking at the whip in Ning Shu's hand, he felt a chill down his spine. Especially when the whip shone with a dark light. I will come over, Gongzi said. And do you know which family has more spirit stones? Ning Shu asked. Lu family, Gongzi said. His eyes rolled and he said, actually, the Li family has many too. Ning Shu looked at Gongzi's scheming face. Is the Li family your home? He wanted her to find trouble with the Li family. Gongzi touched his nose. That was what he meant. Sending out such a crazy woman who he didn't know what she was thinking was enough to annoy his brother. Who knew what she wanted so many spirit stones for? Ning Shu asked. Actually, I want to toss you to mine. Mine? What was going on? He was a noble Gongzi. To ask him to mine, what kind of joke was that? Gongzi looked at Ning Shu coldly. Even if I die, I won't be controlled by you. Moreover, why should I mine? Ning Shu said, with your soul, it will dissipate in a few days. Then you can go and die. Even if I die, I won't mine. Gongzi said directly. I have my own way to get spirit stones, so why should I mine? He was a pampered young master, and a powerful one at that. Why would he want to go mining now? That was something that only people with low strength and no strength would do. Oh. Ning Shu dragged out her last syllable. So you still have soul stones? What does that have to do with you? Gongzi frowned. Damn, a gust of wind blew over. It felt so good to blow right through his body. But looking at the woman opposite him, her dress was moving. That dress looked real and she looked real too. But she was a soul. His soul was so thin that it was about to be blown away. Chapter 2199. Ning Shu said, because I saved you, so now you have to repay me. I didn't ask you to save me, so what right do you have to ask for things from me? Young master said right away. Ning Shu's expression hardened as she whipped the young master's soul body. The young master was in so much pain that he rolled around on the ground, howling in pain. I want to kill you now, so you need to pay for your life. Ning Shu held the whip and said, I'm crazy. The servant nearly knelt down. He told young master not to be stubborn, and this was the result. His soul seemed to have become even thinner. Madam, let's talk inside, let's talk inside. The servant cupped his hands towards Ning Shu and instinctively wanted to help young master up. In the end, his hand passed through young master's body. Servant, that he felt really complicated. This great aunt had no intention of killing young master, she just wanted to get something from young master. Young master didn't know why he was so stubborn. If it were any other senior, they would have thanked him for his kindness. Why did he find this killing god so annoying? What was the point in arguing with her? He had to look at his current situation. Moreover, she wasn't weak, so why did he have to argue? Couldn't they just sit down and have a good chat? The servant felt like his heart was about to break. How would he understand young master's complicated feelings? He wanted to scold this crazy woman when he saw her, but he wasn't strong enough, so he could only rely on his pride to support himself. He was a young master and had suffered many losses in the hands of this woman. Now, she wanted to do whatever she wanted to him just because she had saved his life. How could this be? If he took a step back, this crazy woman would come looking for him if she had any problems in the future. She would want to squeeze layers and layers of oil from him. No, definitely not. A man's pride couldn't be touched. A cultivator's pride couldn't be touched. A male cultivator's pride definitely couldn't be touched. Ning Shu felt like this person was asking for a beating and had no conscience. He kicked young master. I saved you and you didn't even say a word of thanks. Forget it, let's not interact with each other anymore. Ning Shu felt like it was pointless and didn't want to talk to young master anymore. He wouldn't cooperate with him in the future either. I didn't ask you to save me. You saved me, and then you want me to thank you. What kind of logic is this? The young master sneered. You're responsible for your own decision. Why should I thank you? Ning Shu nodded. That's true. Everything is up to you. I don't need your thanks. Whether you thanked me or not, it didn't matter to me. Ning Shu wasn't angry at all. She could only say that she couldn't work with Gongzi. Originally, she thought that there were many souls in this plane. Perhaps she could start cultivating her own people. Fighting alone wasn't a long-term solution. Forget it then. There were benefits to working with the big clans. They would have more resources and information. As for the young master, he would not interact with him in the future. There were always people who wanted to jump out of the Nine Palace Mountain. The world outside of the Nine Palace Mountain was vast and exciting. There were always people with such ambitions. The whip turned into specks of light and merged into Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu turned around and left. Young master was confused. She left just like that? She was staring at him like she wanted to trample him. Now, she just left. Ning Shu knew that young master was arrogant. If they wanted to work together, they had to show him their strength. It seemed like this young master looked down on women, especially when he couldn't stand being defeated by her. Ning Shu actually wanted to find women. But there weren't many with high cultivation in this world. Those with low cultivation would be captured and used as cultivation vessels. Unless you had a strong background. Even if you had a strong background, you had to be careful that your Dao partner wouldn't go crazy one day and open the door to a new world to kill his wife. Destroying emotions and desires was common in the cultivation world. To cut off one's emotions and desires, one would even harm one's own family. Under such circumstances, there weren't many strong women. Moreover, some of them were focused on cultivation and wouldn't come out at all. Senior, why are you leaving? Stay and drink a cup of spiritual tea. In any case, you saved the young master's life. The servant stopped Ning Shu and bowed. His great-aunt had even given him a bottle of spiritual liquid. Following a generous person would bring benefits. Although he didn't know why young master was so stubborn, he didn't want to offend an expert. You are not bad. There is no need for spiritual tea. Whether or not I save him is my own matter. I don't expect him to be grateful. She felt that she had good intentions, but others might not accept it. Senior. The servant looked at Ning Shu and then at his young master and didn't say anything. Ning Shu jumped up and flew away. Since that didn't work, then he would change. He would definitely find a suitable one. After flying to another town, Ning Shu set up a stall. He took out a bottle of spiritual liquid and wrote the exchange method on a rag. People came to exchange for spiritual liquid one after another, but the soul stones weren't good. The main reason was that the soul stones Ning Shu saw were too good. Ordinary soul stones didn't catch Ning Shu's eye at all. It was better than nothing. Ning Shu observed the situation in the town. These towns all had a very retro lifestyle. The people here pursued supreme power, but there were also many people who did not have enough to eat or warm clothes to wear. There were many beggars on the street. There were rich people, poor people, and also respected immortal masters. Everyone's fate was different. How could one jump out of the shackles of fate and live a mediocre life? The more things Ning Shu experienced, the more things settled in his heart. At that time, Ning Shu recklessly did missions and was afraid of being obliterated. Ning Shu saw a child fall in front of his stall. He raised his hand and the child was helped up by an invisible force. Ning Shu said indifferently, "A child who steals is not a good child." The child was only 7 or 8 years old. When she heard Ning Shu's words, her face was filled with fear and tears seemed to fall. "I'm not a thief, I'm not a thief." Ning Shu smiled. "A child who lies is not a good child." The little girl turned and ran. A bottle of spiritual liquid flew out from her body and back into Ning Shu's hand. The little girl's face changed, and she ran even faster. However, as a punishment, the little girl couldn't speak for 3 days. Since they were exchanging for soul stones, then they were cultivators. How could they steal like this? Ning Shu put the bottle of spiritual liquid on the ground and continued to set up his stall. Ning Shu was leisurely and carefree. If there was business, he would do it. If there was nothing else, he would take out some snacks from his spatial ring and put them in front of him to eat slowly. If there was a sofa, Ning Shu would lie down on it. When the spiritual liquid exchange was finished, the sky was dark and a beautiful sunset appeared on the horizon. Chapter 2200. Ning Shu placed his hands in front of his eyes and looked into the distance, watching the setting sun. This world already had its own light and darkness, and it was already a mature world. It was already impossible to take it for his own use. Because there was a mature heavenly Tao. They would not accept any form of fusion with the heavenly Tao. Forcing it would only cause this world to collapse. Furthermore, there were so many living beings in this plane. If a person who could speak, think, and decide their fates appeared one day, they would be very repulsed. The heavenly Tao was heartless because it was indifferent and would not be biased. Therefore it was fair. Ning Shu coveted the 9-Palace Mountain, but she also knew that her current strength wasn't enough to deal with the heavenly Tao. Moreover, if the 9-Palace Mountain collapsed, the plane's trash would pile up in her world of samsara, causing irreparable damage to her world of samsara. It might even cease to exist. If he didn't have the ability to do so, he would only end up with nothing left. There was nothing that couldn't be solved with time, and there was nothing that couldn't be solved with strength. This time, the spirit liquid had been exchanged for a lot of soul stones, but the quality was not very good. However, there was no way around it. There was no mine, and no clan like the Lu clan could produce high-quality soul stones. After all, no matter how small a mosquito's leg was, it was still meat. It was better than nothing. Ning Shu opened the black hole and walked into it. He left 9-Palace Mountain and felt his world. It seemed to be getting bigger and bigger, as if it was starting to evolve into other worlds. Next to each other, a world was formed. Ning Shu discovered that the world of samsara seemed to have formed another world, becoming 2 worlds of samsara. Just like a bubble, the 2 of them were next to each other and connected together like conjoined twins. Ning Shu was horrified. That who asked you to grow so blindly? You should develop a world first, and then we'll talk about it after you succeed. If this world collapsed, where would she put the 9-Palace Mountain? Furthermore, she had no way of taking the 9-Palace Mountain away. Without the 9-Palace Mountain, there would be no source of soul stones. Ning Shu felt that his entire body was not too good. Could it be because this world had fused with the Mirage Stone, causing the Mirage Stone to form one illusion after another? These illusions were all short-lived worlds, just like a person dreaming. That was why this world was growing so crazily. Was it like picking up grapes? The world was densely packed with grapes. Everyone was growing crazily together, squeezing each other. In the end, they couldn't contain it and something happened. Ning Shu returned to the system space as if his butt was on fire. The system space was filled with bottles of elixir. Ning Shu tiptoed and jumped onto the sofa. He said to 2333 anxiously, "There is a problem in the world of samsara. Do you have the contact information of His Excellency?" Nope. Ning Shu clutched his head in despair. These big shots were really interesting. Every time he tried to contact them, they would immediately disappear. It was as if they had the guts to contact him, but he was not allowed to contact him on his own accord. He was afraid of being coquettish. There was a hint of disturbance. She would have to consult the Abyssal Prefect about this matter. There were many secrets in this world, and she didn't know everything. Could it be that she went to ask for the silver-haired man's contact information? Now the silver-haired man probably didn't even do his small business. He must be busy with other things. He probably followed the judge to rob houses everywhere. How can I find the Abyssal Prefect? Abyssal Prefect, Abyssal Prefect, can you hear me? Ning Shu went to the City of Water and went to the silver-haired man's consultation room. Well, there was no one in the consultation room as expected. 2333 said, Do you want me to help you contact the judge and let her contact the abyssal prefect? Ning Shu showed a look of disdain. The judge may not pay attention to you. Ning Shu's brain spun and returned to the system space. He asked 2333 to send the soul stone. He exchanged this time to the main system to be purified. 2333 screamed, I haven't seen such a poor quality soul stone in a long time. Ning Shu was speechless. See, he was used to it. He had seen too many good things. Now that he saw an average quality soul stone, he suddenly screamed, send it to the main system. Ning Shu said to 2333. Sigh. 2333 sighed and took the soul stone away. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa and opened the chat system, waiting for the main system to send him a message. After a while, the main system sent a few question marks, asking, why is the quality so poor this time? Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Sure enough, they were all hard to please. Just be responsible for the purification. Why do you care about the quality of the soul stone? Main system, the soul stone this time is a waste. Ning Shu. Waste? Ning Shu quickly changed the topic. There's a problem with my world of reincarnation. I want to find the abyssal prefect. I have a question to ask him. Can you give me his contact information? Main system, what's the problem? It seemed that if he didn't explain clearly, the main system wouldn't help him contact the abyssal prefect. The abyssal prefect should be very clear about this kind of hell. No, the world of reincarnation. In the past, there was still the black-hearted silver-haired man to ask, but now there was no way to ask. Things that could be solved with money were not a big deal. The most terrible thing was this kind of situation where there was no way to ask for help. Ning Shu, my world has evolved into another world, so I would like to ask about it. Ning Shu felt that he should set up a special consultation website. Spending money to consult was also a good choice. The main system was silent for a while and gave Ning Shu the contact information of the abyssal prefect. Ning Shu wanted to add him as a friend, but he found that he didn't have the right to do so. This was too fucking embarrassing. Ning Shu greeted the abyssal prefect and directly told him about the situation in his world. He wanted to ask him to help see what was going on in the world. The abyssal prefect didn't reply. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa, holding his chin with his hand and looking helpless. He clicked on the exchange store of the system. He felt that there was some information that the organization didn't disclose. For example, when he was a junior mission enforcer, he didn't know what the world building was. Even if he knew, it was useless. One class knew about another class. Ning Shu silently felt that he was about to enter another class. There were many things that he was ignorant of because he didn't know anything about the higher class. Looking through the exchange store of the system, he found that the exchange store of the system seemed to be able to be upgraded. He could upgrade it by spending 50 merit points for a data package. Ning Shu couldn't resist spending 50 merit points to upgrade it. Well, Ning Shu looked again. There seemed to be more variety and more fancy. The price seemed to be more expensive than before. It was 4 times the price before, but now it seemed to be more expensive. So after the update, the things inside were more expensive. It was at least 1% more expensive. On the basis of 4 times the price, it was another 1% more expensive. Things that cost 100 merit points now cost 101 merit points. What a scam! Ning Shu really wanted to smash the system store. He was so angry that he laughed. Chapter 2201. The schemes were as deep as the ocean. Some mission takers with obsessive-compulsive disorder couldn't help but click on the upgrade window when they saw it. Upgrading required money, and the upgraded product seemed to be even more expensive. Maybe it was because the product was upgraded, so it was more expensive. In any case, Ning Shu only saw that in order to earn money, the schemes were getting deeper and deeper. Ning Shu's head hurt. Ning Shu closed the system store helplessly. He felt hurt every time he looked at it. His Excellency still hadn't replied to his message. Most probably she was busy and didn't see his message. Ning Shu could only wait like this. What if she replied that she wasn't here anymore? The most important thing now was his own world. It concerned the Nine Palace Mountain, and the Nine Palace Mountain concerned her supplies. Also, this black hole had swallowed so many things that Ning Shu couldn't even count them. If something really happened, Ning Shu would vomit blood. As for missions, he wouldn't do them for now. If nothing happened to the world, Ning Shu felt that he should go to the City of Space to learn the spatial laws. He would head to the Nine Palace Mountain after he learned the spatial laws. But the problem was that the Nine Palace Mountain might not be able to survive. She had no way to merge with the Nine Palace Mountain. If the world collapsed, the Nine Palace Mountain would definitely disappear as well. Ning Shu felt his heart aching. Things happened so suddenly that he was caught off guard. With a ding-dong, the chatting system rang out. Ning Shu woke up and hurriedly took a look. It was His Excellency who replied, asking him where he was and asking him to meet at Little Silver's shop. Ning Shu clasped his hands together and did a gesture of gratitude. He flew to the City of Water and went to the consultation room. There was no one in the consultation room. Ning Shu just waited. After a long while, His Excellency finally came. His Excellency was still pale. His face was pale, his hands were pale, and his neck was pale. However, he was wearing a dark-colored robe, making him seem even paler. "Sorry I'm late." His Excellency sat down. Of course, Ning Shu didn't think that the Abyssal Prefect was really apologizing to her. It was just a statement, not an apology. These were all minor details, so there was no need to pay attention to them. Ning Shu said, "Thank you for coming. I've been thinking about this matter for a long time, and only you can answer the fear in my heart. If it weren't for the accident, I would never have bothered you." Since the other party was being polite, Ning Shu had to be polite too. Si Tian crossed his pale fingers casually, and the veins on the back of his hands bulged slightly. It was a pair of beautiful hands. He asked Ning Shu, "What's the problem? Has the rebirth pool evolved?" Ning Shu, "Oh, it's an extra world. I'm afraid that something might happen. That's why I'm so worried right now," Ning Shu said. "I see. Do you mind if I head over to take a look?" Abyssal Prefect asked. Sure. That was exactly what she wanted. She was so gentlemanly that Ning Shu didn't know what to say. Facing a gentlemanly person really made her feel a little uncomfortable. As the person in charge of hell, she was still so polite. Could it be that under this pale skin was some kind of destructive yiksha? Ning Shu opened the black hole and walked into the world with Abyssal Prefect. They walked into the derived world. This derived world was exactly the same as the other world. The two worlds were the same, except that this derived world didn't have Nine Palace Mountain. The sky was dark and gloomy, and the ground was black. There was no end. Ning Shu followed beside Abyssal Prefect. Stepping on the black sand, he observed Abyssal Prefect's expression, trying to figure out whether this was a good thing or a bad thing from her expression. However, Abyssal Prefect had a calm expression from beginning to end. Ning Shu couldn't reach this level of calmness. When would she be able to reach this level of calmness where everything was under her control? Ning Shu hoped that this was a good thing. It was good to have more worlds. However, he was afraid that it would become a disaster if it continued to grow. Abyssal Prefect didn't speak much along the way. Ning Shu could only follow her and observe this derived world. "Let's go back and talk." The Chief of Heaven opened the door with complicated patterns and walked in. She disappeared. Ning Shu also hurriedly followed her out of the black hole. He asked Abyssal Prefect sitting on the chair, "Will it be fine?" "It's fine. It's a good thing. Just like a tree, it will take root and sprout. It will grow branches, and leaves. Some of the branches will sprout, and some will die. Do you understand?" Ning Shu thought for a moment and asked tentatively, "You're saying that my world, it's sprouted?" "You can say that. Since it's a tree, it needs all kinds of nutrients. If it doesn't have enough, it will die in the end. Do you understand?" Abyssal Prefect asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu's heart was shocked. "Oh my God, are we going to start feeding the world now? Is the world not eating enough?" Ning Shu felt that she had to start living a more miserable life again. She had to tighten her belt. Who knew what the world wanted to eat? "You're saying that my plane may derive many worlds?" Ning Shu asked Abyssal Prefect. He was really surprised and happy. He only felt that it was very important. According to my calculations, quite a number of worlds will be formed. However, if the worlds run out of energy, they won't be able to bear the burden and will eventually collapse. You'll have to pay the price for the resulting world garbage and broken spatial walls, Abyssal Prefect said unhurriedly. Now, there was only shock. There was no joy at all. I want to know, what kind of energy do they need? Ningshu asked. If the reincarnation pool forms in the main world, it will be easy. The reincarnation pool can not only deprive the souls of their memories and emotions, but also deprive a part of their soul power for their own use. This is the source of the power of the world of samsara. In a normal world of samsara, there will be a few huge reincarnation pools. Abyssal Prefect said, if your world doesn't have a source of power, it will continue to be weak. Now that it has sprouted, you can imagine the consequences. This seed might wither and rot, never to grow again. Ningshu, I'm already scared. Don't scare me anymore. This wasn't a good thing, okay? Abyssal Prefect seemed to be comforting Ningshu. Actually, this world of samsara is not bad. In the future, no matter how many worlds you form, it will correspond to how many world of samsara it will form. One yang, one yin. Ningshu's face was filled with despair. This was equivalent to telling him that this kid would be so handsome when he grew up. But now he was going to die. He didn't know if he could come back to life. So what if he was handsome? So what if he was amazing? He couldn't pass the stage. It needed soul power. Ningshu was really in despair. Did he have to throw soul stones into this world often? Who knew if he could absorb the soul power in the soul stones? Ningshu would rather hope that the world would evolve and not grow so quickly. Without enough energy, there was no point in being anxious. Chapter 2202. If the world was malnourished, he didn't know what it would look like. It would be weak and die, or it would grow into a deformed product. Ningshu didn't want anything to happen to the world. Even if there was only one, it could evolve steadily. She didn't have any energy, and she couldn't control the evolution process of the world. Ningshu's face was blank. He didn't know how to react. In other words, the current world of samsara needed the rebirth pool, and it needed the power of the soul to grow. Ningshu was at a loss. Ningshu thought of a solution. He asked His Excellency, can we get a rebirth pool here? The key is the power of the soul. It has nothing to do with the rebirth pool. Souls have to enter the world of samsara and be reborn from the rebirth pool. Only then will the rebirth pool have power. Secondly, your world of samsara hasn't evolved successfully. It can't connect to the world of the living because there's no way to carry the surging souls. Although souls aren't heavy, the whole world is densely packed with souls. There are all kinds of souls flying in the sky and running underground. Ningshu was dejected. Oh my God, what's the use of sprouting at this time? It would only make the world weaker. Sometimes, the evolution of the world was very stupid. It couldn't be sure that the direction of evolution was right. Besides, it's not good to transplant it to the rebirth pool of the world. After all, they are not of the same origin. There will be rejection. It's like a person swapping another person's heart. This rejection is fatal. In the end, the whole world may collapse. Therefore, we only need to wait quietly for the world to evolve into the rebirth pool and become the real world of samsara. His Excellency said slowly, therefore what we need to do now is to find the energy that the world needs to shrink. Ningshu sighed in his heart. After calming down, he had to take care of his family again. Especially now that the price of goods was soaring, he had to tighten his belt to live. Thank you. If you need my help in the future, I will do my best, Ningshu said. His Excellency just said lightly, there will be such a day. Ningshu was speechless. She suddenly felt that it was really hard to repay a debt of gratitude. Ningshu felt that the path ahead was boundless. If the world of reincarnation required energy, then it would need the rebirth pool. If there was the rebirth pool, then it would need souls. If souls were to enter the world of reincarnation, then there would be a world of living beings that was connected to the world of reincarnation. There was life and death, forming a cycle. When would the rebirth pool be formed in this world? Ning Shu didn't feel too good. What should have been a gradual process had been disrupted by this world. Ning Shu knew that he was struggling because he was not strong enough. If her world of reincarnation was completed, she would definitely need to connect the countless planes. Only then would the dead souls be able to enter the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu's head was about to explode, but he maintained a calm expression on his face. Even if he wanted to go crazy, it wouldn't be in front of an abyssal prefect. From a certain perspective, this was indeed a good thing. If the world succeeded, the rewards would be bountiful. She would have her own world of reincarnation. Just these worlds of reincarnation were enough for her to have her own world. She would not be punished. She was also a person with a world, although it was the world of samsara. Also, the peerless martial arts were lacking the source of two worlds. Ning Shu felt that he was really busy. There were really too many things to do. Many thoughts flashed through Ning Shu's mind. He said to Abyssal Prefect again, "No matter what, thank you. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what would have happened." "Thank you." Abyssal Prefect nodded slightly. The atmosphere became cold. Ning Shu was about to leave when he suddenly thought of something and asked Abyssal Prefect, "The flowers that Abyssal Prefect gave me this time withered for some reason." Abyssal Prefect raised his brows and said with a relaxed expression, "Flowers don't bloom for 100 days. It is normal for them to wither. Those flowers are rootless and without nutrients, they will definitely wither." Ning Shu nodded. He thought that the flowers were similar to roses and could resist the damage of time. They would always be tender and beautiful. "If you want such flowers, I will give you a pot." Abyssal Prefect said as he reached his hand into a black hole and took out a pot of black flowers. Black roses, black leaves, black branches, and most probably the roots were also black. Ning Shu wanted it, but his face was not thick enough. He asked someone to help him and took a pot of flowers away. Ning Shu asked, "I don't know what kind of nutrients this kind of flower needs." "Nourishment? It is very simple. Soul energy. This flower originally grew beside the reincarnation pool. But I like it, so I planted some and watered them with my soul energy." Ning Shu knelt down. This was a true nouveau riche. Watering flowers with his soul energy? How could he be so inhumane and say such words? Actually, it only requires a small portion of your soul energy. If you water it more frequently, the flowers will look better and the fragrance will be stronger. Abyssal Prefect placed the pot on the table. A delicate fragrance floated in the consultation room. It was so fragrant. This flower grows beside the reincarnation pool. It will attract some souls to jump into the reincarnation pool. It will absorb some of the soul energy obtained from the reincarnation pool. Its purpose is to let these souls go to the afterlife with a feeling of happiness. Ning Shu wanted to laugh, but he could not say anything. Ning Shu was crying tears of blood in her heart towards Abyssal Prefect's extravagant behavior. For a little bit of soul energy, she was running around like a dead dog. In the end, he used this to water the flowers. Water the flowers, her heart suffered countless blows. When could she be so extravagant and be so extravagant? "If you want, this pot is for you." Abyssal Prefect's expression was calm. He did not think that this pot of flowers was anything special. Ning Shu only wanted to say that she could not afford to raise this kind of flower. She shook her head and said, "Thank you, but I don't want it. I don't have so much soul energy to water it." With soul energy, she had to protect the world of reincarnation. Otherwise, if the world of reincarnation collapsed, 9 Palace Mountain would disappear. Abyssal Prefect did not say anything. He casually placed the pot in the black hole. Finally, the black hole disappeared. It looked like he had taken something from another world. Now, Abyssal Prefect's label in Ning Shu's heart changed from pale as a ghost. The head of the world of reincarnation had now become someone who used soul energy to water the flowers. This made the poor girl's heart tremble. Ning Shu thanked him again and then walked into the black hole. Looking at the dark world, Ning Shu grabbed a handful of black veils and sighed in her heart. Although it was a desert, there had never been a sandstorm. But when a sandstorm appeared, it should be a sign that the world was unstable and about to die. Soul energy, BK. Chapter 2203. She had to quickly obtain more soul energy from the Nine Palace Mountain and stabilize this world. What a troublesome little fairy, what happened? Now she owed His Excellency a favor, she didn't know how to repay this favor in the future. Ning Shu sat on the ground, the sand felt cold, there was no day or night here. Ning Shu tore off her arm, it was painful, the soul in her arm turned into a drop of sand, quickly seeping into the sand and disappearing. A drop in the bucket. Now she had to stabilize this world and not collapse. Losing a bit of soul didn't do much harm to Ning Shu's soul. Ning Shu returned to the system space, lying on the sofa with a broken face. She was under a lot of pressure. Ning Shu took out a golden soul stone. If she threw it into the world should be able to absorb the soul source inside. If the world could absorb it, then she could throw the soul stone inside. It didn't matter if the soul stone wasn't pure, because the reincarnation realm's pool of rebirth would take away the soul's 7 emotions and 6 desires, as well as a portion of soul power. But if the world came into contact with too many negative things, it would collapse. What if it grew into something inexplicable again? Ning Shu was so annoyed that she was about to explode. Such a change in the world really caught her off guard. Although it was developing in a good direction, Ning Shu didn't have the ability to let it continue to grow. But now that she had a child, she had to raise the child, milk powder, diapers, raise it into an adult, and teach it. The process was filled with all kinds of things. If the world was a troublemaker, it would grow randomly, it would collapse. God, this was completely Ning Shu's rhythm, plus the organization was in a state of frenzy recently, it was even more annoying. Every time the soul stone was brought to the main system for purification, the main system would take away a portion, and the remaining portion would be given to 2333, she also needed to use it, and a portion would be given to the world. Ning Shu felt her liver hurt. She felt that the soul power she got was too little. She spent money to buy soul stones, but she still had to spend a lot of effort to exchange for soul stones, and find a way to mine them. And the main system purified so much soul power every day, her soul stone must be purified as well. However, the contract had already been signed, so there was no point in making a fuss. Therefore, Ning Shu kept all the good stuff for himself. Now, they were even more strapped for cash. So poor, back to the days before liberation. Ning Shu opened up the chat system and saw that Abyssal Prefect's contact details were still available. He clicked on the friend request, and to his surprise, it actually worked. This meant that the names of Abyssal Prefects would no longer disappear from her list. If there was anything he needed, he could contact the Abyssal Prefect directly. However, he couldn't ask too often. Otherwise, it would be hard to repay the debt of gratitude he owed. If there was any problem, he would settle it himself. He wouldn't ask for help unless it was absolutely necessary. Although Ning Shu needed help from others, he would rather solve it himself if he could solve it himself. Ning Shu turned off the chatting system and opened them all. He wanted to find out what kind of negative things about the soul could do to the world of samsara. If the world of reincarnation could digest these negative things on its own, then she could directly place the soul stone in the world of reincarnation. There was no need to purify it at all, and she wouldn't be deprived of half of her soul power. Ning Shu felt that he really needed to spend every penny he had. Poor people were like this. Why couldn't taxes collect soul power? Ning Shu remembered that Si Tian's gambling house seemed to be able to pawn soul power. He guessed that Si Tian had kept all the soul power for his own use. Smart people could find business opportunities everywhere. He was really poor to death. Ning Shu flipped through books and materials in the mall, trying to find some clues. Ning Shu felt that the negative emotions of humans, such as despair, hatred, resentment, and so on, would definitely be harmful to the plane. The world of samsara was also a plane. It was just that there were souls in this plane, and they were also very sensitive to these negative emotions. Moreover, the reincarnation pool in the world of samsara would eliminate the 7 emotions and 6 desires of the soul. Many negative things would allow the soul to enter the world of the living without being tainted by a speck of dust and be able to reincarnate again. Then, did the world of samsara have to digest these negative things by itself? Ning Shu used what she knew to deduce. After thinking about it, Ning Shu felt that it wasn't appropriate to directly throw the soul stone into the world. She instinctively felt that it was inappropriate. This was because there were many impurities in the soul stone. If something happened to the plane, the current world was like a baby. Any harm from the outside world would affect it. These negative emotions were like a virus. If it was infected, it would be fine if it could survive. If it couldn't, it would collapse. Therefore, she still needed to send the soul stone to the main system to be purified and feed the world with purer soul power. When the world was slightly stronger, she would try to use the soul stone to make it have resistance. Since she had decided, Ning Shu didn't have much hope. Now that she was more cautious and invested more, there wouldn't be any problems. When the time came, she would absorb less and distribute more to the world. Then, she would have to find more soul stones, and she had to find better quality ones. Now, she had to feed herself and a world. She was fucking exhausted. Ning Shu tried to think in a positive direction. In the future, she would have 2 worlds, 3 worlds, 4 worlds, countless worlds. Just thinking about it made her excited. Next, she would prepare to go to the spatial city to learn about the spatial laws. She also had to bring the handwritten notes from the auction. Although the drawings were abstract, what if they were useful? The spatial laws were very intangible. It wasn't like the water laws, which could be touched. After learning this, Ning Shu planned to go to the second level of the 9 Palace Mountain. Ning Shu felt that the first level didn't have anything she wanted. Now that she had 1 more to feed, the more the better. She would try her best to get something better. Thinking of this, Ning Shu's heart was filled with joy. Life was full of hope and ambition. She had goals and plans. Her life was fulfilling. After living for so long, Ning Shu didn't feel bored. She also felt that she didn't have enough time. Ning Shu appeared in the spatial city. As soon as she entered the spatial city, it was as if she had seen a kaleidoscope. All kinds of space-time and space twisted and twisted. It was completely confusing and made her feel very irritable. The city of water felt like it was going to drown her, and the city of fire felt like it was going to burn her soul. The spatial laws didn't affect the pain of the soul, but this feeling of powerlessness could devour a person. There was no end to it, and it made her feel frustrated and desperate. /BK Chapter 2204. For example, Ning Shu clearly saw herself standing at the entrance of the restaurant. She was about to cross the threshold, but in the end, she was no longer in the restaurant. The restaurant had run to the street behind her. Moreover, Ning Shu couldn't walk over no matter what. She didn't step into that space. This was a little awkward. She couldn't even enter the restaurant. Even if she wanted to enter, she would have to master some spatial laws. Ning Shu scratched her head and ran towards the restaurant. It was right in front of her, but she couldn't run over. Moreover, Ning Shu was sure that she had run a very long distance. Ning Shu had no choice but to sit down and take out the handbook to have a look. However, she still felt that it was very abstract. This mission enforcer must be a fan of abstract art. Otherwise, what kind of drawings were these? Ning Shu sat on the ground and pondered. She began the process of learning the rules from Little White. She didn't know who the law incarnation of this city was. It seemed like it had never appeared before. It also didn't appear in the group. It was noble and cold. If there wasn't a law incarnation, everyone who cultivated here could become a law incarnation. Ning Shu vaguely felt that this city had a master. This was a connection between the laws. However, the person wasn't here. Now, she should think about how to enter the restaurant. Even if she wanted to eat something, she couldn't eat it. Ning Shu put away the abstract art. Without reaching that realm, she couldn't understand it. Ning Shu walked and walked and walked. In the end, she successfully got lost. Now, she couldn't even see the restaurant. She was dazzled by all kinds of things. Her eyes were about to go blind. She went from one space to another, completely unaware of what she was doing. Ning Shu was lying on the ground. Someone even walked past her and glanced at Ning Shu, who was lying on the ground. These people were obviously newbies. They couldn't even enter the restaurant. Ning Shu climbed up from the ground and sat up. I'm willing to lie like this. I'm comfortable. Ning Shu ignored the gazes of others. After they left, she climbed up and continued walking. Ning Shu released his spirit and looked around as he walked. He even left some traces of water to see if he was taking a detour. Learning the law of space was truly a blur. He could not make heads or tails of it at all. He felt as if his entire being was shrouded in clouds and mist. He often wondered who he was, what was he doing, where was he, and where was he going. His sense of space-time was messed up, and he was at a loss. Ning Shu's head was full of question marks. He was truly at a loss. It was no wonder that it was a high-level law. This kind of law was known as a divine law along with the law of time. It had caused Ning Shu to fail. After a long time, Ning Shu's mind was confused. The confusion of his senses had seriously affected Ning Shu. Ning Shu simply sealed off his senses and randomly walked around. In any case, he couldn't comprehend the laws of space, so it didn't matter if he didn't see or hear anything. She was fearless. If she really couldn't reach the second level of Nine Palace Mountain, she decided to mine on the first level. Although it was dangerous, she had a barrier to protect herself. If she really couldn't do it, she would exchange for some armor and carry a hoe to mine. With a pop, Ning Shu felt as if she had entered another space. It was as if she had entered another bubble from one bubble to another. Once again, she began to walk in a circular motion. Sometimes, she even bumped into people. Ning Shu apologized. She couldn't see or hear anything. If she didn't use her spirit, she was a blind person. In the end, Ning Shu still failed. After walking for a long time, she felt extremely tired. Therefore, sealing off her senses was a mistake. Since it was a space, there were space nodes. Once she found the space nodes, she could achieve a breakthrough. 2 nodes formed a line, and 3 nodes formed a sealed space. Ning Shu released her divine sense and looked at these spaces. She tried her best to find a way to break through. It couldn't be that she couldn't even buy anything in this city. The law of space was really perverted. Ning Shu's head was about to explode. In the end, she decided to do some physical work to relax her mind. Ning Shu opened the black hole and walked in, disappearing from the city of laws. Only this black hole followed her like a shadow. As long as she opened it, she could leave at any time and appear in the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu asked 2333 to prepare a defensive tool for her. She also asked 2333 to get her a weapon to mine. She really wanted to mine. The surroundings of the mine were very dangerous. Ordinary people couldn't mine at all. Therefore, Ning Shu had to do it herself. He exchanged for a soft armor, which could protect his soul to the greatest extent. He also exchanged for a powerful hoe, which could hoe anything like tofu. There were also nails and hammers, which could be used to knock out soul stones embedded in stones in a small area. Although the introduction didn't seem very reliable, the real situation should be reduced by 50%. The effect of 50% was already very good. It was like an advertisement. No matter how awesome it sounded, it was just an advertisement. Ning Shu carried the hoe and held the hammer in one hand. She prepared to enter Nine Palace Mountain to be a miner. Perhaps there would be some good quality soul stones in the mine. Perhaps there would be golden soul stones. She was a little excited just thinking about it. Ning Shu pressed her hand against the stone wall of Nine Palace Mountain and was sucked in. Appearing in the square, Ning Shu carried the hoe and headed towards the fish tank. If she really couldn't do it, he could carry the fish tank on his back and block attacks for her. The law of nothingness in the fish tank could fuse with anything anyway. Senior. A hoarse voice suddenly sounded. Even Ning Shu was frightened by this shrill voice. Ning Shu turned and saw the servant's expression as if he had seen his savior. His eyes lit up. Ning Shu raised an eyebrow. What was this? If one didn't know better, they would think that they had seen their mother. Senior. Although the servant was surprised that Ning Shu carried the hoe and hammer, he still ran over and anxiously said to Ning Shu, Senior, please save my young master. What happened? Did your young master's soul scatter? Ning Shu didn't care and asked. She felt that she wouldn't have anything to do with that young master. His soul hasn't scattered yet. Soon his soul will scatter. Young master's people came and directly broke the formation of the house. Young master is in danger now. The servant quickly said. Ning Shu's expression didn't change. What does this have to do with me? It indeed had nothing to do with her. She wasn't related to that young master. Strictly speaking, they even had a grudge. Does your young master know that you came to find me? Ning Shu wouldn't do things that didn't benefit her. As for seeing injustice, Ning Shu felt that it was already a virtue for her to not cause trouble for others and not drag them down. Since they didn't accept it, she went over. If she died, it would be a cheap death. She didn't have any obligation to save that young master. If she saved him, she wouldn't gain anything and might even offend the Li family. There was no benefit and they wouldn't be grateful. /BK. Chapter 2205. Therefore, Ning Shu couldn't see any benefits in saving people, especially when she and young master still had some grudges. Saving people this time was already because of their previous cooperation. This time, Ning Shu felt that she should put a label on herself. There is no one in the world that I hate, no one in the world that I don't love, and no one in the world that I can't forgive. She was a goddess that emitted the light of the Virgin Mary. She wasn't such a selfless person. Ning Shu did not pay any attention to the manservant. She carried the hoe and hammer and left. The servant quickly followed. Senior, wait, my young master still has something to say. Ning Shu stopped. What is it? If it's valuable, I don't mind listening, but if it's not valuable, don't hinder me from doing valuable things. She was very poor now, and time was money. The servant looked around and whispered to Ning Shu, young master asked me to come. He said that he offended you because he didn't want to. Senior, please forgive him. When this matter is resolved, young master will try his best to help senior find soul stones for the cooperation you mentioned. Ning Shu casually asked, did you say that, or did your young master say that? Don't tell me you're lying to trick me into saving your young master. Anyway, your young master is so dead, you might as well leave him. Senior, you may not know this, but I am in the same boat as the young master. If anything happens to the young master, the first young master will definitely cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Although the second young master has a bad temper, he is also very good to me. For a servant like me to reach the Golden Core realm, the young master has given me a lot of resources. Ning Shu asked, is your young master retarded? One more strong person in the family means one more power to protect the family. Why fight among brothers? Well, the first young master will inherit the Li family, but the second young master's talent is slightly better. There are also voices of support in the family. Power, status, wealth, and resources are all things that cultivators can't avoid. The servant answered Ning Shu honestly. Ning Shu was weighing in her heart whether she should go or not. How long have you been waiting here? Ning Shu asked. It's already been 3 days, the servant said. Ning Shu casually swung his hammer. Then there's no need to go. It's already been 3 days. Your young master must have turned into ashes by now. No, senior, the mansion's barrier can last for a few days, but the other side has a formation master. Young master can't hold on for much longer. Not dead yet? Ning Shu thought about it and decided to go. After all, this young master was a native, and there were some things that she, an outsider, knew more about. Therefore, she had to find someone she could cooperate with. As for this young master, he could try to get in touch with him and see if they could work together. It's men who like to pretend. Wow, I have so many women. Wow, I'm so flirtatious to show off my masculine abilities. This young master was a pretentious prick, and he even found someone from the songstress club to fill up the scene. In the future, he wouldn't be able to pretend even if he wanted to because he was a spiritual body. The manservant quickly led the way for Ning Shu. When they arrived at the entrance of the house, they saw that there were several people surrounding the house. These people all had powerful auras. At the front was a guy wearing a jade crown. There was a purple gold belt around his waist. He had a dignified aura and looked extremely noble. These two brothers weren't related by blood, right? The eldest one looked quite handsome and was quite good-looking. As for the second young master, he didn't pay attention to him. He didn't leave a deep impression. Either his genes were mutated or he was swapped. Senior, that is the eldest young master. He came personally, but young master didn't dare to let him in. He could only activate the formation. Now, the formation is about to break. The manservant said softly to Ning Shu. Someone from the eldest young master's side also whispered into his ear. A pair of bright eyes looked towards Ning Shu. The eldest young master saw Ning Shu carrying a hoe and walking over. He sized up Ning Shu and said solemnly, "Is this how the second brother treats his own woman? He even wants to plant his own food." Ning Shu said casually, "He does it himself. Souls need to eat?" The eldest young master smiled. Ning Shu said, "Eldest young master, I can tell that you haven't experienced the hardships of the human world. I don't need to eat, but I need to earn soul stones." The manservant, "What are you guys talking about? Li Si, why aren't you opening the door? As a servant, this is how you treat your guests. The second brother probably can't come out now. I heard that he was injured. As his older brother, I came to see him, but I refused to let him in. This is your fault as a servant." The manservant Li Si didn't move. The eldest young master's expression turned serious. "What's wrong? The master of the Li family can't order the servant of the Li family?" Li Si, the eldest young master's voice was filled with danger. The people he brought over were eyeing him covetously. It looked like they were about to fight. Li Si looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu put down the hoe and hammer on his shoulder and said to Li Si, "Look after my things for me. What's the use of making things difficult for a servant? Although he's a servant of the Li family, he serves his master. Since you know that he's injured and can't come out, you still insist on coming to see him. This is the respect you're showing your brotherly love," Ning Shu said directly. "How dare you talk to the eldest young master like that?" Ning Shu, who was behind the eldest young master, scolded. Ning Shu ignored him and said to the eldest young master, "My brother is injured, and you still want to see him? He is in seclusion. You are disturbing him, so please send him away." The eldest young master's face did not show any signs of anger. He said to Ning Shu, "I can give you whatever the second young master can give you. Why are you protecting the second young master who has no future? The second young master's soul is about to disperse. Are you trying to recruit me? What can you give me?" Ning Shu asked. "What do you want?" The second brother asked, full of confidence. Li Si, who was holding the hoe and hammer, was sweating profusely. Cultivators could control their sweat, but Li Si was very anxious. If Senior really reached an agreement with the eldest young master, then when the formation was broken, the only thing waiting for the eldest young master was not his soul dissipating, but he would become an eternally imprisoned artifact spirit. He wouldn't even be able to die. To be honest, cooperating with the eldest young master is indeed worth it. However, the eldest young master has so many people around him. I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to find a place. Cooperating with him is very easy. It is better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix," Ning Shu said with a smile. "He is now my man. Take him and leave immediately. Otherwise, I won't be polite," Ning Shu said to the eldest young master. The eldest young master's face only sank. He looked at Ning Shu with a meaningful gaze. Ning Shu didn't like that gaze. "Are you sure there won't be any accidents?" /BK. Chapter 2206. The eldest young master said to Ning Shu, "So you've chosen him. There's no benefit in choosing him. If you need soul stones, I can give you a soul stone mine to exchange for spirit liquid. Capturing second young master alive will be your proof of allegiance. How about that?" Ning Shu felt that she had fought until now for the sake of becoming stronger. What was the purpose of being strong? It was to follow her heart. She would not be forced to do things that she was unwilling to do because she was not strong enough. She was not willing to compromise. She would not be forced to make a choice because she was not strong enough. Otherwise, why would she be strong? There was a vast world outside. She wanted to be someone else's subordinate in a small world of the 9-Palace Mountain for a few soul stones. Why did she have to suffer so much? She could have dug the soul stones herself. At this time, she chose to leave with the eldest young master. Why did she work so hard to become stronger? She did not want to suffer for some small benefits. A strong person should have the heart of a strong person. Even if she was strong, her heart was weak. That was not a strong person. A strong person's heart was a strong person. Ning Shu said directly, "Hurry up and leave now. Otherwise, you might die here. I really like souls. I like them very, very much." The eldest young master also said directly, "You will regret it." Ning Shu could not be bothered to say anything. He flicked his finger and sent the eldest young master flying. She was cooperating with the second young master, but the eldest young master wanted to enslave her. It was as if using a soul stone mine to exchange for spirit liquid was a great favor to her. It was a deal, but it seemed like she was doing him a favor. She had never seen such a thing. The eldest young master was sent flying by Ning Shu. He hit the wall and spat out a mouthful of blood. Eldest young master. When the servants saw that their master was injured, they rushed towards Ning Shu with their magic weapons. Ning Shu waved her hand and a water enchantment was set up in front of her. These people who rushed over directly hit the enchantment and bounced back. Unwilling to give up, Ning Shu rushed forward again. Ning Shu directly used a barrier to wrap them up. The barrier slowly shrank, and the pressure within the barrier continued to increase. It directly ruptured the blood vessels of these people, causing them to spew out blood. If this was the law of space, then these people would have been crushed to pieces by now. Ning Shu filled the bubble-like enchantment with compressed water, which could drown even self-cultivators. These people struggled in the enchantment, unable to breathe. Cultivators could stay in ordinary water for a long time. Although it was not as easy as walking on flat ground, they would definitely not drown. The eldest young master looked at the strength of Ning Shu's hand and spat out blood as he looked at Ning Shu. "I'm from the Li family. It doesn't matter. If you have the ability, come and find me." Ning Shu broke the enchantment bit by bit. The followers trapped in the enchantment fell to the ground and breathed with all their might like dying fish. "I didn't kill these people not because I didn't dare to, but because he's from the Li family. If there's a next time, I'll cripple your bone structure and make your talent, which is inferior to his, completely disappear." "You can try," Ning Shu said coldly. The eldest young master touched his chest and stood up. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "The mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow. There will be a chance to meet again." Ning Shu did not care. "If you want revenge, come and find me." The eldest young master released the spirit ship and flew on it. The other followers followed, and in an instant, the spirit ship flew away without a trace. When the eldest young master was far away, the door to the house opened. The second young master's spirit body poked his head out. When he saw that the eldest young master had left, he heaved a sigh of relief. When he saw Ning Shu, he hurriedly cupped his hands to Ning Shu. "Thank you for saving my life." Ning Shu casually acknowledged. He would not help him kill the eldest young master and let this guy get away with it. "And that's how you thank me for saving your life." Pai Lupi's words are really valuable. The eldest young master laughed. "We're all friends in adversity. Don't you need soul stones? Let's all work hard to get soul stones." Ning Shu just looked at him. "That means you have a lot of soul stones." "I've already exchanged my soul stones for spirit liquid. From now on, I have no use for this spirit liquid. I still have to use it to exchange for soul stones." The eldest young master hurriedly shook his head. "I don't have any soul stones. I really don't. I'll use the spirit liquid to exchange with others." "How much spirit liquid do you have?" "I'll help you exchange for some soul stones. Consider it my gratitude for saving my life." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and took out the space in his ring. "There are spirit liquid bottles in here. Help me exchange for them." The eldest young master, "Just how much spirit liquid do you have?" The spirit liquid that he was forced to exchange with her was all in his hands. Now that he took out so much, where was he going to exchange for so many soul stones? The eldest young master wanted to punch himself. There were a few soul stone mines in the family, but they all belonged to the family. Was he going to take this spirit liquid back to the family to exchange for soul stones? But now his big brother must hate him to the bone. If he went back, he would peel off his skin. If he took it to other families to exchange, the family would have opinions. Wouldn't this increase the strength of the other families? This was a pure spiritual liquid. The eldest young master just wanted to kneel. Ning Shu ignored the eldest young master's conflicted expression and patted his almost empty soul. In the end, her hand passed through his body. The eldest young master looked at this crazy woman's hand passing through his body and silently looked at Ning Shu. I wanted to encourage you, but your soul is really too weak. TSK, Ning Shu shook her head. Do your best. I believe in your ability. I have more important things to do now. She carried a shovel and hammer to open a mine. Normal people couldn't mine that mine, so she would mine it herself. The eldest young master laughed. She clearly had the ability to kill his big brother, but she kept him alive. She just wanted to use him to restrict him. He could use her name, but she wasn't tied to his belt. What kind of deterrence did someone who wasn't by his side have? Ning Shu saw that the eldest young master's soul was really weak, so she took out 2 soul stones. Here for you. The eldest young master looked at the 2 soul stones and his nose turned sour. He was about to cry. How did he become so poor? This woman took all the soul stones for him. In the past, he used soul stones to exchange for spirit liquid, and now he had to use spirit liquid to exchange for soul stones. The eldest young master felt that the heavens were playing with him. If not, they wouldn't torture him like this. You're welcome. Take it. You'll make anyone who sees and hears you cry. Ning Shu picked up the things and left. Eldest young master? After Ning Shu left, Li Si looked carefully at the eldest young master's expression of despair. He couldn't help but shout. Li Si, don't you think that I am so sad? I am the eldest young master of the Li family. The eldest young master asked Li Si. Chapter 2207. Li Si. In this slave's heart, the young master has always been unparalleled. Li Si said. Ning Shu carried the things to the soul stone mine, which was full of miasma and surrounded by countless wind blades. The fish tank was still stable and there was no fluctuation at all. Ning Shu released his spiritual force to see where the heart of the mineral deposit was and found the nearest place to the mineral deposit to start digging. However, the miasma here is so powerful that even the spiritual force can't penetrate it and is swallowed up. Ning Shu can only lie on the ground, face to face with the ground, and use his spiritual force to explore, but it is not easy to penetrate layers of soil to explore the mineral deposit. Do you really have to dig a hole in the mountain casually? How long will it take to dig? Ning Shu simply took out a compass and simply used a little Taoist's unique skill to find the dragon vein and gold and silver mines to try to find a place to move the soil. However, when the compass was taken out, the pointer turned like crazy and it was useless. After all, the soul stone is formed by the soul and the attribute is yin, which is why the compass is like this. A wind blade slashed on Ning Shu's body, but with the protection of the soft armor, although it is a little painful, it is not much damage. The spiritual force can't penetrate, the compass is useless. What can he do? He observed the terrain and then pointed with his finger at random. Gold choose, silver choose, I chose the kerosene lamp. Ning Shu pointed to a hill. Well, let's start digging here. Ning Shu took the hoe and began to dig, but this hoe is really a bit powerful. It doesn't take much effort to dig. Even if there is a stone, it is really like digging tofu. Awesome, it is not in vain for such a high price. Ning Shu dug a hole and dug deeper and deeper. He dug the soil outside and used his spiritual force to avoid digging in the wrong direction. Although the soil layer will affect the penetration of spiritual force, at least he can see the situation in front of him. Ning Shu will not dig a road to the dark, and he will dig a fork in the road, like a tree, with branches everywhere, so that no matter where the mineral deposit is, he can dig it. Ning Shu was like a groundhog, digging here and there, busily going back and forth. A day passed, and Ning Shu did not find anything. He was also in his soul state, and he did not eat or drink. He did not feel tired either. It was just that when they arrived at the night mine, it was a bit gloomy and cold. Ning Shu was not afraid. Strictly speaking, she was also a freaking ghost. Ning Shu continued to dig. With the help of his tools, he dug out a spider-like tunnel. In order to obtain the soul stone, Ning Shu felt that he was going all out. After digging for a few days, they were covered in dirt and grime. If they weren't using shovels, they were using hoes and all kinds of tools. Could it be that this soul stone mine was a fake soul stone mine? The map indicated that this was a soul stone mine. Had he been cheated? The people here had their own methods of detecting mineral veins. What if the detection was wrong? Ning Shu's heart was a bit shaken. After digging for so long, the only thing that came out of the soil was a stiff layer of rock. There were no soul stones at all. He was not willing to give up. What if there were soul stones not far ahead? Forget it, he would continue to dig. Perseverance was very important. If it really didn't work, he would dig through the mountain. That way, whether there was a soul stone mine or not would be obvious. Ning Shu took the tools and continued to dig. During this time, the wind blades harassed him in all kinds of ways. Moreover, they were gloomy, and there were wails and howls. He even dug out some rocks with strange expressions. Ferocious and terrifying ghost faces. However, Ning Shu did not care at all. However, the fearful Ning Shu added a soft armor to his body and spent a lot of merit points. Some of the tools were directly cut by the wind blades, and Ning Shu had to buy new tools. He had not seen any soul stones yet, but Ning Shu had already spent money like water. He could not even get back his capital. However, the investment in the early stages was necessary. After all, if he found soul stones later on, no amount of merit points would be able to buy them. Ning Shu basically bought, and bought. He bought as much as he could. After digging for a few more days, the tunnels in the mountain became more complicated and denser. Ning Shu dug, adding soul power to the digging tools, making them even sharper. Ning Shu had once tried to lift up the mountain like she had lifted up a skull to check the situation inside the mountain. However, reality told Ning Shu that she could not do it for the time being. If she had the power of space, she would be able to split the mountain into two. Ning Shu used the law of water and used the law of water to invade the mountain. However, it would take time for water to penetrate a stone. It was faster to just dig. Finally, a ding sound rang out. It was the sound of the shovel colliding with something hard. The shovel was very powerful. It could even smash rocks into pieces. Now, it had actually collided with something hard. Ning Shu's heart was filled with joy. He guessed that what he wanted might have appeared. He stayed here for more than a month. According to 9 Palace Mountains time, it was more than a month. He did not go out at all. He bowed and busied himself non-stop. Ning Shu sped up. He swung the hoe in his hand until he finally found some hard rocks. These rocks were embedded with black stones. These black stones were soul stones. Ning Shu put down the hoe and quickly took out a hammer and a large steel nail. He began to dig out the soul stones from the rocks. However, the rocks were very hard. He had to dig out the soul stones from the walls. Ning Shu didn't think it was a big deal. She picked up the hammer and began to chisel out a soul stone of average quality. Ning Shu also felt that it was not bad. After all, if he found a soul stone, there would be better quality soul stones. The cave was filled with the sound of clanking and Ning Shu humming. Ning Shu collected all the soul stones that were dug out. One more soul stone meant one more soul power. It could feed the world more energy. Ning Shu was almost trying to earn money from the milk powder. He desperately dug out soul stones from the walls. The deeper he went, the better the soul stones. There were not as many impurities. Ning Shu kept everything, no matter if it was good or bad. The more the better. He was too satisfied. Ning Shu felt really tired and couldn't concentrate anymore. Ning Shu sat down to rest for a while and strengthened the barrier around her. She dug in front. After digging for a distance, she would turn around and pull the fish tank to her side. At least the fish tank could block a lot of attacks for her. Some attacks accidentally entered the fish tank and were quickly devoured. Therefore, holding the fish tank at the back was also very good. Ning Shu, who was resting, took out a soul stone with a lot of impurities and threw it into the fish tank. It was directly devoured by the laws in the fish tank. After resting enough, Ning Shu continued digging out soul stones. The clanking sounds continued. The quality of the soul stones now was very bad. There was a trace of golden soul origin in it. /BK. Chapter 2208. There were golden soul stones in the mine. Maybe there were golden stones in the mine. Maybe he could dig out some golden soul stones. Thinking about it made him a little excited. It was as if Ning Shu had been injected with chicken blood. Not to mention how excited she was, she began to knock on the table. The deeper he went, the more yellow the soul stones became. Ning Shu was so excited that he almost had a brain hemorrhage. It couldn't be helped. He was too inexperienced and too poor. It was so exciting to suddenly become rich. Ning Shu dug in excitedly. The most important thing now was these golden soul stones. Drip, drip, drip. Ning Shu was chiseling through the hard rock wall when she heard the sound of water dripping. She looked up and saw a dazzling golden light. The top of the rock was actually dripping with golden liquid. The liquid that dripped onto the ground flowed slowly, making the soul stones on the ground shine with a golden light. The golden liquid also dripped onto the ground, creating a depression. This depression was filled with the golden liquid, and some of it overflowed everywhere. Ning Shu felt as if fireworks were exploding in her heart. This golden liquid must be the source of the soul. The golden stone was nothing, but the liquid of the scenery was the most precious thing. The liquid should be purer than the source of the soul in the golden stones. The concentration of the spirit liquid and the spirit stone was higher. It felt like a windfall. It was worth it to be like a mouse in this cave for so many days. Sure enough, one had to take risks to gain riches. Although there was the danger of being killed by the wind blades at any time, the rewards were rich. The premise was that there was a chance of survival. Rushing in when there was no chance of survival was asking for death. Ning Shu felt that he was not very lucky. It was better to not do things that risked his life. Ning Shu looked for a tool to collect the golden liquid. He didn't know what bottle to use so that it wouldn't contaminate the source of the soul. Use a jade bottle. The pure jade bottle, 2333 said. No, jade is not pure either. There is no pure jade in the world. It's better to use 9,999 pure gold. It's purer than jade. Besides, one is metal and one is stone. Which is stronger? 2333 I'm speechless. Ning Shu exchanged for a golden bucket the size of a bathtub and placed it under the dripping water. Then, drop by drop, the golden liquid fell into the bucket. Then, Ning Shu began to dig out the golden soul stones. However, he didn't dare to dig out too many. If he dug out too many, the soul origin fluid wouldn't drip anymore. He had dug so many tunnels. Would it affect the entire mine? Ning Shu decided to set up a yin gathering array around the area to gather all the yin qi in the world. Originally, the soul stone mine would absorb souls to form soul stones. After the arrangement was completed, Ning Shu took the hammer and nails and began to knock on the golden stone. Previously, he thought that the golden stone was the best, but now he discovered that the golden soul origin liquid was even more precious. Ning Shu knocked on the door. Ning Shu felt the mine shaking and the ground shaking. Earthquake? Ning Shu felt hot air on his back. It was very hot. It was breathing in and out. It was definitely a living creature. Could it be that there were other monsters hiding in the mine? Ning Shu carefully stretched out his hand and pulled the water bucket to his side. He turned his head and saw a golden thing. Even its eyes were golden. This thing looked a little deformed. It looked like a dragon, but it didn't look like one. It had 2 horns and was very big. It didn't have legs and it was wriggling on the ground. It looked like a snake, but it didn't look like one. It looked like a nouveau riche. It was golden. Ning Shu's heart ached. How much soul origin did this thing eat to be able to grow to this size? It probably lived here and didn't have anything to refer to. It just grew up casually. Anyway, no one saw it. It didn't matter if it was ugly or not. Is this a demon? A demon that was nurtured by the soul origin liquid? The demon's golden eyes were filled with demon energy. An alien creature had barged into his home. This was his place. The demon was furious. It swept its tail and the entire mountain shook. It revealed its golden fangs. The fangs were dripping with black venom. The black venom dripped on the ground and contaminated the golden soul stones on the ground. Ning Shu, my heart hurts. It can even contaminate the soul origin liquid. This poison is too overbearing. The soul origin liquid was the foundation. If it was contaminated, it would be over. Wait, let's talk things over. Really? Ning Shu hurriedly said, I was passing by and came to take a look. Ning Shu was using a skill that allowed her to communicate with intelligent animals. She just didn't know if this strange-looking animal had any intelligence. Hee hee, this two-legged monster is ugly and shameless. It woke me up and dared to lie to me. It dared to say that it was passing by. Hee hee hee, Ning Shu. Since it could communicate, it had some intelligence. He didn't know why it spoke like an old man. This is my place. Get lost. Ning Shu said, this is my place. The demon's eyes widened. Hee hee, this is my place. You actually said that it's your place. Even a two-legged monster is so shameless. Ning Shu was basically sure that this demon had seen humans before. Get lost. The demon revealed its fangs. The fangs were oozing with venom. The venom was smoking and floating at the tip of the fangs. It looked very scary. Ning Shu instinctively felt that it was very dangerous. What if his soul origin liquid was contaminated? This place was born long. You didn't build it, so it can't be considered yours. Ning Shu said, fighting and killing is boring. Do you want to go out with me and see the world? There are many fun things outside. You can come back here anytime. He idiot. Ning Shu, what could he do when encountering a demon with such a personality? He could only fight. Ning Shu said, let's go out and fight. If we damage these things inside, your heart will ache and mine will ache. The venom was flung everywhere, contaminating the soul origin liquid and the stone. Ning Shu's heart ached. Hee hee, I can finish you with a drop of venom. Why should we go out? Hee hee, your sister? Do you know that hee hee is very rude? When Ning Shu heard the word, hee hee, his head was filled with the word, hashtag. Hee hee, Ning Shu clenched his fist and lifted the fish tank with one hand. Do you know what's inside? Ning Shu casually picked up a soul stone and threw it in. Finally, it disappeared without a trace. The demon's eyes were as wide as copper bells. Hee hee, Ning Shu threw the shovel in again. The shovel disappeared without a trace. Hee hee, finally, he cut off his fingers and threw them into the fish tank. Everything disappeared. Heh. Tell me, if I were to splash the law of nothingness on you, would you be assimilated? There would be nothing left and you would cease to exist. Heh, do you dare? You definitely can't control this thing. The demon said directly, /BK. Chapter 2209. Ning Shu didn't pay any attention to the yellow earthworm beside him. The more soul stones he dug out, the more soul power he would get. Ning Shu needed this thing very much to stabilize the world of reincarnation that had taken root and sprouted. Instead of bickering with this monster, it was better to dig out more soul stones. She wouldn't retreat from this soul stone mine because it was too precious. This monster wouldn't retreat either because it couldn't bear to part with the soul stone liquid here. They confronted each other like this, trying to get as many soul stones as possible. Hee hee. The earthworm jumped into the golden bucket and drank all the soul stone liquid accumulated in the golden bucket in one gulp. Ning Shu grabbed the earthworm. I'll strangle you to death and spit it out for me. Drop by drop, he had finally accumulated a little bit of soul stone and this guy had eaten it all. Hee hee, I've already eaten it and can't spit it out. What's in my stomach is mine. The earthworm said directly. I'm not saying that you dig yours and I'll eat mine. Ning Shu threw the earthworm on the ground and squashed it with his foot. I just don't want to kill you because you're a monster and it's not easy for you to form your own intelligence. Do you think I won't do anything to you? Bah. You snatched my things and then you act like you're doing me a favor. Do you think I'm stupid? If this wasn't the best soul stone mine I've found, I would have polluted this place long ago so that you won't get anything. Greedy and disgusting two-legged monster. The earthworm struggled under Ning Shu's foot and shouted. If you have the ability to defend it, I won't say anything if you kill me. But you obviously can't beat me now. This place doesn't belong to you. Maybe there were other monsters before and they were killed or driven away by you. Ning Shu stomped his foot hard and made the earthworm vomit blood. Ning Shu quickly took out a bowl to collect the blood. Don't go too far. If you're angry, I'll pollute the things here. You're guilty. You're not the first person to occupy this mine. I don't want to kill you. If I really want to kill you, I'll take you out and purify your blood. Then we'll be fine. But if you really want to do that, then I'll have to take your corpse. Ning Shu had a better impression of gremlins than humans, but that was all. Nonsense, I'm the first one. What's the point of fighting for the first and the second? Ning Shu let go of her foot and set up a barrier around the golden bucket. She left a hole in the barrier for the soul stone liquid to drip in. However, if the earthworm wanted to drink the soul stone liquid in her bucket again, it could dream on. Ning Shu ignored the gloomy earthworms and continued to open the soul stones. Moreover, the soul stones that he opened were all soaked in soul stone liquid and were incomparably pure yellow. Hee, Ning Shu was speechless. This earthworm should have been hurt and abused by humans. Ning Shu had no interest in being his caring sister. Whatever you say, I'll pretend I didn't hear it. You two-legged monsters are disgusting. Ignored. You can't find it, so you want to enslave others to find it. Do you have to find maggots before eating shit and let the maggots lead you to find shit to eat? You are disgusting too. Firstly, we don't eat this. Secondly, it's because we can't find it that we need tools to find it. As Ning Shu spoke, her movements weren't slow. She became more and more proficient, and the speed at which she opened the soul stones became faster. Could it be that you have been enslaved to find something? Ning Shu guessed inwardly. Then she had a look of realization. Don't tell me you have the ability to find soul stone veins? You feed on soul stones, so finding such things is your instinct? No, I've never been enslaved. It's just that many of our kind have been enslaved. They were all imprisoned by humans to search for soul stone veins. The earthworm hurriedly explained and ended up being exposed. Oh, so that's how it is. Ning Shu chuckled at the earthworm. You look like you're in despair after being abused. What kind of inhumane torture did you suffer? Perhaps a large family clan reared demons like this to search for soul stone veins. No wonder they could find a soul stone vein in a danger zone, but they couldn't mine it. Although they couldn't mine it, they knew that there was a soul stone vein here. Ning Shu initially thought that it was a fake soul stone vein. The earthworm sneered. If you have any ideas about me, I'll pollute the entire soul stone vein. Ning Shu sneered. If I have any ideas about you, let's not talk about this place. There were several danger zones that had soul stone veins that couldn't be mined. If there weren't any left here, Ning Shu could find another place to mine. That would be enough for Ning Shu to obtain a lot of soul stones. If there weren't any left here, she would go up to the second level. However, how many people had died and how many souls had been absorbed by heaven and earth to form so many soul stone veins? There were souls of spirit beasts and humans. Yet there were children born on Nine Palace Mountain. Where did these children's souls come from? The humans on Nine Palace Mountain were basically cultivators who entered Nine Palace Mountain. Perhaps when she finished climbing Nine Palace Mountain, she would be able to find the answer to this strange question. The most important thing now was to excavate this vein and the soul stones. She had to prepare more soul energy for the world of reincarnation. Everything else would become clear. The earthworm saw that Ning Shu was ignoring him again. Speaking of which, this was the first two-legged monster that could communicate with him. He was also the person he hated the most for barging into his place and stealing his things. The earthworm faintly looked at Ning Shu's back and opened its mouth, revealing its fangs. The fangs were suspended with venom. As soon as Ning Shu turned around, the earthworm immediately closed its mouth and curled up like a gloomy snake. Ning Shu, I have eyes on the back of my head. How do you produce your venom? Ning Shu asked the earthworm. Hee, why should I tell you? The earthworm saw that his things had been dug out by this thief and his heart ached. He bit down on a soul stone and swallowed it. Ning Shu, fuck, my heart hurts. Both the human and the monster felt their hearts ache. They trembled. Ning Shu sped up his digging and exchanged for a more expensive light spear. He only needed to sweep along the edge of the soul stone and the rock wall would be vaporized. It was faster to collect the soul stones. The earthworm was dumbfounded. He was filled with anger and hatred. What a shameless two-legged monster. Ning Shu dug faster and faster. He felt like he was invincible. The earthworm's stomach was full. He could only watch as Ning Shu tirelessly dug out the soul stones. Wow, I'm going to pollute the entire soul stone vein. The earthworm became more and more angry. He bared his fangs with black venom floating on them. Soul stones are good, but don't be greedy. Ning Shu shook his head and said. Then he laughed and continued to mine the soul stones. But when the earthworm saw the golden soul stone liquid dripping down, he hesitated. There was no need to pollute the vein for such a despicable two-legged monster. Chapter 22:10. However, when the earthworm saw the other party take away the soul stones one by one, it wanted nothing more than to kill the other party and swallow him whole. It wanted to throw the venom all over her face and pollute her entire soul, turning her into an ugly two-legged monster that had no consciousness and was full of venom. Ning Shu could feel the violent aura coming from the monster even from afar. She reckoned that the monster's heart was going off like a nuclear bomb. Ning Shu said, Hee, the soul stones are delicious, right? Try your best. Ning Shu now knew what the monster's venom was. It was the negative emotions of humans in the soul stones. Even the soul stone liquid couldn't guarantee that it was absolutely pure. This kind of monster was weaker, so it shouldn't have such venom. Because it ate less soul stones, it suffered less negative emotions. If this kind of earthworm was so dangerous, humans probably wouldn't dare to raise it to search for or veins. One bite would pollute the entire soul. It was a killing weapon for the soul. Even if it had a physical body, it could still poison the soul. If this monster's body swelled up, it would be thicker than the waist of a strong man. It could be imagined how many soul stones it had eaten and how much negative emotions had accumulated in its body to finally form venom. Hee, I'll just give you these things, right? The earthworm sneered. Ning Shu nodded. Yes. What a shameless two-legged monster. The earthworm spat and smeared a mouthful of poisonous saliva on the ground. It immediately corroded a golden soul stone. The soul stone smoked and finally turned into a pool of black water. In essence, soul stones were the power of the soul. Ning Shu was speechless. You've been struck by lightning. If you spit again, I'll chop your head off. Ning Shu's expression turned stern. If this thing went out, it would definitely be a killing weapon, especially for souls. It would be over if they were bitten. Not only did it eat so many soul stones, but it had also evolved into such a powerful venom. The earthworm was also heartbroken. It felt like its food had been ruined. Ning Shu mined the soul stones very quickly. He felt that it was too slow for him to mine alone, so he decided to exchange for a coolie robot to help him mine the soul stones. These things could be found in the mall. They were the result of technological development. As long as the program was set, they could be mined. Ning Shu asked 2333 to exchange one for him. Then, Ning Shu reached his hand into the black hole and took out a robot from the reincarnation realm. Hee, you're still looking for helpers? Earthworm mocked when he saw Ning Shu take out a strange-looking item out of thin air. Where did you get this from? Earthworm stepped back and looked at Ning Shu with vigilance. Ning Shu smiled kindly. Don't be afraid. I won't lock you up in a dark, empty world. Hee, do you think I'm scared? I can use my poisonous fangs to bite the place where I'm trapped. The earthworm retreated. Start program, scan for minerals, excavate minerals. The sound of robotic machinery rang out. Then, various tools were propped up in their bodies. The complexity of the various tools made Ning Shu's face turn numb. Was it necessary to open a mine? In the end, before they could even mine a single soul stone, they were scrapped by the wind blades. Lying on the ground, the pliers and hammers waved wildly. Program disrupted, requesting recovery, program disrupted, Ning Shu face-bombed. Ah! Earthworm burst into laughter. It was so funny that it was going to die. Ning Shu put away the robot. So, he still had to rely on himself. He turned a deaf ear to Earthworm's laughter. God, I'm dying of laughter. Ha! Earthworm rolled around. Ning Shu swung the hammer. Clanking, 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 he used various high-tech cutting tools and took turns to mine. No matter if it was day or night, he had almost emptied half of the mineral deposit. Moreover, they were all yellow soul stones of good quality. As for the lower quality ones, he would come back when he had time. After all, it was better to dig out a single golden soul stone than 1,000 ordinary soul stones. As for the lower quality soul stones, this earthworm wouldn't eat them. After eating the soul stone liquid, it couldn't eat the ordinary soul stones. Therefore, she had to compete with this earthworm for the high-quality golden soul stones. She had a place to store the soul stones, but this earthworm only had one stomach. Once it was full, it couldn't do anything. Earthworm couldn't stop laughing. It took a lot of effort to stop laughing. Seeing Ning Shu digging so many soul stones, it immediately shouted, "Why did you dig so many? You eat yours, I'll dig mine. If you continue to make trouble, I'll throw you in here." Ning Shu pointed his finger and a black hole appeared in front of him. The black hole rotated slowly as if it could swallow the universe. "Hee, do you think?" Earthworm saw the black hole and was immediately grabbed by the neck. Its whole body trembled. Ning Shu withdrew the black hole. She wouldn't throw the earthworm into the black hole. If the earthworm's venom caused any harm to her world was just a small seedling. If it was poisoned by the venom, who would be responsible for anything that happened? She worked so hard for the sake of her world baby. She wouldn't lock this earthworm in her world for a moment of pleasure. She wanted to protect the world's safety and development. If she wanted to be happy, she would just kill it. Earthworm shrank to the side and subconsciously wanted to chuckle, but he stopped himself. Seeing that this intruder was about to empty his home, Earthworm felt hatred and despair in his heart. He secretly bared his fangs. "If you drip this venom on yourself, will you die?" Ning Shu asked without turning his head. Earthworm retracted its fangs. "Hee, I'm not a fool. I won't put venom on myself." Ning Shu lived a dark life in the soul stone mine. He didn't know whether it was day or night. He didn't know how long he had been in the cave. Earthworm ate and slept every day. It ate to its heart's content. It was unwilling to let these soul stones be dug out by Ning Shu. They laughed at each other and ridiculed each other. Even if it was a soul, Ning Shu felt extremely tired. He couldn't help but sit down to rest. Seeing that the golden bucket was filled with golden liquid, Ning Shu was so happy that his tiredness disappeared. He put the soul stone liquid away and then put the bucket under the liquid to collect it. He didn't know how long this could last. Even if the golden bucket was full, there was a barrier outside the golden bucket. The barrier could still collect the soul stone liquid. He was satisfied with this trip. "You've been wandering around for a long time." 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. "There's not much time left. 9 Palace Mountain's time is different from the organization's time. You've been gone for a long time." 2333 said. Ning Shu looked around at the soul stones. He had dug up almost all the soul stones. The remaining soul stone liquid was protected by the barrier. Earthworm looked at Ning Shu and bared its fangs. There was venom floating on its fangs. A pair of eyes stared at him with hatred. Chapter 22:11. Ning Shu didn't expect this monster to be grateful to her. It was reasonable for her to hate her. However, Ning Shu didn't care about this hatred at all. This feeling was like an ant hating her. She didn't need to care about it and didn't need to worry about it hurting her. Because she was starting to get stronger, she wasn't afraid of anything. But it was impossible for her to give up this mine. She put away the tools and walked out of the cave under the monster's covetous eyes. She stretched her body and the wind blades around her hit the enchantment that covered her body. The income this time was equivalent to the missions Ning Shu had done for decades. No matter how hard and tiring it was worth it. The earthworm also crawled out and looked at Ning Shu with vigilance. Ning Shu flew up and planned to leave. These soul stones would be sent to the main system to be purified to give power to the world of samsara. Seeing Ning Shu leave, the earthworm heaved a sigh of relief. I must finish the soul stone water. I won't leave any for that person. Ning Shu returned to the town and went to Pai Lupi's house. She knocked on the door and it was the servant Li Si who opened the door. Senior, you're back. Li Si quickly opened the door and let Ning Shu in. He saw Ning Shu holding a fish tank in her hand. There was water in the tank. Li Si found it hard to understand. Why was she holding the fish tank? Where's your master? Ning Shu asked. He's in seclusion. He should be coming out soon. Senior, please wait for a while. How long have I been away? Senior has been away for almost 5 months. Damn, it's been so long. The speed of the Nine Palace Mountain was different from the outside world. It was estimated to be 10-1. According to the organization's time, she had been away for more than 40 months and hadn't done a single mission. I'm leaving first. I won't see your master. She didn't have time to waste with Pai Lupi. Senior, you're leaving? Li Si quickly asked. Hey, I'm leaving. Ning Shu left the house and went to a remote place. He pointed at the black hole and walked into it, appearing in a dark world. Back in the system space, Ning Shu placed the fish tank in a corner to collect dust. He then took out a portion of the soul stones and asked 2333 to send them to the main system to be purified. He did not take all of them out. As usual, Ning Shu put away the golden soul stone liquid. This time, there were some golden soul stones mixed in with the soul stones sent to the main system. Ning Shu kept the purer soul stones for himself. Get some normal soul stones and bring them to the main system for purification. Ning Shu couldn't guarantee that the organization wouldn't try to rob him if he took out the golden soul stone liquid. After all, he was just an ordinary mission enforcer. If they killed him, they would get something. They could even take his soul power and soul origin. These good things should wait until he had the ability to purify them. Wealth and silk moved people's hearts, especially now that the organization was so poor that Ning Shu was more afraid of biting her flesh. If they cut her flesh, it would be fine. She might even lose her life. 2333 said, the quality of the soul stones is quite good. Ning Shu nodded, yes, it is very good. Ning Shu lay on the sofa and planned to take a nap. He was very tired. After working continuously, although his soul would not be tired, his mind would be tired. When he woke up, Ning Shu said to 2333, let's do the mission. When the mission was completed, he would go and earn some extra money. 2333 nodded and asked as usual, do you want to do a quest? That's awkward. What if I refuse? Ning Shu shrugged. He opened the shop and bought some fasting pills and medicine. It's not awkward. It's not the first time you refuse. It's okay. 2333 said. Ning Shu said, you make it sound like I don't do the system mission. Okay, let's do the mission. 2333 said, oh right. If your reincarnation realm evolves into the pool of rebirth, you will be famous. What do you mean famous? Ning Shu asked casually. He did not care about being famous at all. If it could bring her benefits, then it was fine. Ning Shu did not think of himself as a selfless person who would give up everything to help others. Most of the mission enforcers build living worlds. Living worlds are relatively easy to build. However, if there are living worlds, there must be a balance between life and death. At this time, the mission enforcers have to connect the world of reincarnation. Only then can there be life and death. 2333 explained. Ning Shu's eyes turned and reacted, all the mission enforcers' worlds with living creatures will be connected to the reincarnation realm? Of course. His Excellency is in charge of countless reincarnation realms. The dead souls of the mission enforcers' living worlds will also enter the reincarnation realm. When they are connected, there will be new souls entering the world, allowing the world to achieve a balance between life and death. This way, the world will be stable. Ning Shu rubbed his hands. What you mean is that when the time comes, there will be people who want to connect with my reincarnation realm? His Excellency is eager. No matter how many reincarnation realms there are still billions of worlds. The reincarnation realm is always full. He is eager for someone to help reduce the burden of the reincarnation realm. 2333 said, so don't be fooled by his gentlemanly appearance. That guy is very ferocious. No matter how ferocious he was, she did not offend His Excellency. Moreover, she did ask for his help. Even if he did not help, she had no choice. Helping was a favor. Not helping was her duty. She owed him a favor. If the pool of rebirth was really formed in the future, it would definitely accept souls to obtain energy for its world. Most importantly, Ning Shu saw that the reincarnation realm would bring him a lot of favors. If a mission enforcer successfully built a world and it was a world with living creatures, he would need to connect with the reincarnation realm to ensure the balance of his world. He would definitely find her and connect with the reincarnation realm. People who could build worlds were all experts. Ning Shu felt that he had diligently taken care of the fertile grassland and attracted many horses. He did not need to look for good horses and they would automatically come to him. Ning Shu decided to feed his world well. In the past, he did not care about it. Now, he would treat it as his treasure. The formation of this world was completely out of Ning Shu's expectations. From the start to the end, a world was formed. He was stunned. Another world was formed. He was still stunned. He was like a child who fell from the sky. He just kept eating. He would eat whatever was good and now he wanted soul energy. As for the world of living creatures, he only wanted the source of the world. One was picky about food and the other ate everything. When the reincarnation realm was completed, Ning Shu could just sit there and collect soul energy. The pool of rebirth would take away the 7 emotions and 6 desires and karma. It would also take away a portion of soul energy. Apart from the soul energy that the world needed, some of it would be hers. No wonder His Excellency was so rich that he used soul energy to water flowers. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.